There we go. Alright, sweet. We're nice and live.
Hell yeah.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, folks. Welcome to the stream. We're here with new adventure. And friends old and new.
Hooray!
Huzzah!
Woohoo!
And we're good.
I don't have...
Excited cry.
I don't have the nice, handy nameplates for everybody, but we can just go through the list. Hi, I'm Slappy Meats, of course. And in the window next to me is Good Boy Lolaman. Finally, we are players together.
Finally.
We have our trusty DM, Iron Mog.
Hello!
What a good boy. Then we've got Donica.
Hello.
And we've got Moonlight Kitsune.
Greetings, all.
And BW Anibai.
Hello there.
Ah. I'm appreciating the general furry tone that all the PFPs are bringing.
And it works out. Moogles are just furry by nature, so, you know.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm a Mikoto in Final Fantasy XIV, and I always
So there you go.
get girls for life.
It's that moment when you start watching VTubers and you realize that you're actually a level 1 furry, and you're just like, oh well, I guess.
It took you guys
That's
watching
just
VTubing to learn about that you're a furry?
I think it took that for me to accept it.
Hmm.
I always knew.
I've leveled up beyond. I've multi-classed beyond furry.
You have ascended!
Mm. Yeah, I don't know if I'm coming to terms with being a furry, but I have at least expertise in general horny.
Oh, definitely.
I mean, yeah, I play a Viera, so, you know. Just accept it and embrace it at this point.
We all have to accept our
You got it.
queerness.
One of us. One of us.
Mhm. Where's my other button?
Okay, cool. So, one who leans should be updated and looks correct now? Everything right? Yeah?
As far as I can see, yeah.
Cool. Everybody has their character now. Everybody should have permissions to it and should be able to see it. Yeah?
Looking at mine right now.
I can see the
As am
character
I.
sheets, yes.
I've got mine in a pop-up window, so I'm all set to go.
There's my boy.
Hell yeah. I fucking love it.
I'm honestly rather amused by the fact that my mount has more hit points than me, which is not surprising.
We're in that terrible state. Level 1.
We'll get past it. It'll be fine. Everything's fine. This is all fine.
Doesn't the Discord have a literal graveyard for people who have fallen in battle?
None of them
just
have been
recently
level 1.
stupid.
None of them have been level 1.
Yeah, touche.
But we're here to break records.
It would be a speed run, that's for sure. Yeah.
Oh, come on. I've got GDQ on my other monitor.
I'm gonna say, yeah, I guess it is appropriate, isn't it?
Me first, me first.
I am not
Just
allowed
present
any
your
of
neck
those
in front of every blade.
D&D any percent.
The 20%. It is an ending.
I mean, yeah, that's true.
I don't know about you guys, but I think I would prefer a more climactic or fulfilling ending as opposed to I just jumped off a building head first.
True, true.
You know, not counting the fact that maybe the big bad evil guy just kicked me off said building.
Mhm.
It's always a good time when you get Hans Grubered.
I
Are you
was
doing
about
a
to say
Die Hard?
something along those lines.
I have made jokes about doing a Die Hard campaign, yeah.
Nice.
Are we talking about the actual movie set in the universe or the arcade game that claims to be Die Hard but is actually a completely different universe?
Both, but neither?
I had the Rick and Morty episode in mind.
All right, cool. So yeah, welcome everybody to session 1. We're officially starting. We're kicking it off. It's the new year. It's time for some new D&D. The Drums of the Empire, session 1 starts today. So we'll go through. Got a little bit of a preamble to kind of set the scene, set the the tone, give a little taste, a little flavor of what's been going on, what the kind of sense and general atmosphere is for the place where you're all at, the City of Doors, and we'll kind of move from there. We'll transition into game, and we'll go through probably a random roll unless somebody wants to volunteer. But we'll random roll, see who we introduce first. We'll introduce, go ahead, yourself, obviously, and then your character. And then we'll proceed once everybody's been introduced and gathered together. We'll proceed with the narrative, and we'll get to the actual gameplay.
Aye, aye.
Sounds good to me.
All right, so everybody's in. Everybody's characters looks like they're working. Everything looks like it's running right. I'm excited about that. That just means that, hey, nothing broke yet. So let's see if we can break anything tonight. Hopefully it doesn't break too badly.
Oh, I thought it was a no major glitches run.
I mean,
We'll
if
do
it
what we
breaks
can.
badly enough, I can go do my own live stream. I'm sure I can pull something out of my ass to keep people entertained tonight.
All right. Well, yeah. Unless anybody has any questions, comments, concerns, anything they need addressed or taken care of, we'll get to it.
Nothing that comes to mind
Set,
for now.
leave. As long as my voice hold out.
You all right?
It was completely shot last night. It was full
Oof.
send. Tom Waits just busted. So I'm glad
Oof.
that is back so far. Hopefully I can do
Yeah,
my
fingers
character
crossed. Fingers crossed.
Yesterday was very ASMR.
All
well.
right.
This device was getting real close.
By the way,
All
I've boosted my output volume because it said I was a little bit quiet earlier. So if it's too loud, let me know.
Absolutely.
It could stand to come up a little bit more, honestly.
Yeah, I'm gonna say
Yeah.
you could absolutely even go a little higher still.
Yeah, I even cranked your output on my end, and you're still soft.
Every campaign, we gotta a
It's
sweet
the
voice,
rules.
sweet little voice.
How
You
is
gotta
that?
figure that sweet spot,
Get it.
slide into it,
Pull
and
'em
just
up.
work it.
Okay, how is that? I'm at
Excuse me.
175% now.
Didn't realize it was that kind of campaign. Oh my god.
That's
I
right.
know,
Yeah,
right?
phrasing indeed.
So is that volume any better?
You sound a
Yeah,
lot.
that's
Absolutely. Yeah.
Perfect.
All right. And that also does go for the music as well. If it's too loud or too quiet, just let me know and I will adjust as needed.
Music sounds good to me.
It's perfect as it is. It's there, but it's not too loud, so it doesn't cover anyone.
Hell yeah. All right. Let's kick it. Once more, I will be your dungeon master for this campaign, The Drums of the Empire. Welcome, one and all. We'll meet our players here in a bit when we get to the actual characters. But before then, we've got a little bit to talk about, perhaps. It is an auspicious time for the City of Doors. Recently, when reviewing a long series of seemingly unrelated events, you began to show small signs of direction, deliberate intent behind these otherwise innocuous, innocent situations that had happened to come about. In the end, it bound so many of these otherwise unconnected worlds and the individuals upon them in this massive tapestry of intrigue as it began to unfold before everybody's eyes. As more information came to light, a clear pattern of destabilization and focused destruction began to make itself known. Someone, somewhere, was deliberately trying to upset things across the entirety of the known universe. Different worlds pushed closer to the brinks of certain devastation. Absolute obliteration for some worlds hung in the balance, forestalled at the last second by some brave adventurers. And it was amidst the series of revelations during this time of growing darkness that there came finally a single spark of hope. The Raven Queen, the matron of magic herself, has been found and has returned to the city. In celebration, a new holiday has been established, that of Raven's Feast. It is a time where we give thanks. You spend time with your families, your other loved ones. You share the gifts with each other in honor of those selfless gifts of the heroes who saved the Raven Queen and gave all of creation that little last gift of hope. Some even giving the full measure and not returning with their allies. Emboldened by this turn of events and this positive change in the atmosphere around the city and the Prime Plane, the Senate Council within the city has decided to press their rare and unique opportunity, taking advantage of the fact that the City Lord himself is still missing and that no one is truly, currently, in any position to take charge or forestall the Senate from enacting its own plans. So the council has got together and has opted to overturn one of the City Lord's most sacred and long-standing decrees, that of non-interference of the different sovereign worlds known across creation's tapestry. And now, the Senate prepares for something that has not taken place in an age. The city is going to reach out directly to find some allies to bring to their side. Thanks largely to the random chance of fate, the world of Yome has been made known to the Council and to the greater denizens of the Prime Plane in general. One of these worlds that was previously lost beyond a veil, hiding all of known reality away from a greater, further darkness and the rest of the original reality and universe as it existed. A world from beyond the veil had been discovered. And by an even stranger quirk of fate, they managed to meet a native from this world, from whom they were able to probe some information, glean a little bit more understanding, and have come up with this plan. Armed with that little information, they have been afforded, as well, the means to align a door within the City of Doors that would allow them to send an expedition to reach and open up the world of Yome itself. So they're putting together a team of diplomats, merchants, military advisors, different journeyed and gifted individuals to journey to this new world. This time they will not be simply making contact, as they might have recently, should someone discover their existence. This time they will in fact be working to establish a permanent settlement to act as a local point of contact and as a representative of the Prime Plane and its interests on this world and across the greater scope of creation. The hopes and final goals of this expedition, that of being to secure direct access to resources, both rare and mundane, including people, and to recruit allies, other nations, other sovereign worlds, perhaps if this is a multi-planetary allianced world, the little information they have, it's not clear. But more allies that they can bring to their side and pledge to the cause of protecting creation. Though, of course, beware. There is as much and more left unsaid in the lines between these plans and these agreements that have been made as there is directly addressed. The senators, they have their own brash and somewhat reckless political maneuverings, as do some of the different diplomats that will be embarking upon this journey. And that is, of course, not to forget that the ever-present knowledge on the minds of everyone, every citizen of the Prime Plane, and especially the City of Doors, is the threat of the return of the Empire of Shadow and the endless war of conquest to control everything across the stars. This war that was thought ended with the closing of the Second Age, now once more seems as if it is on the horizon, just outside the threshold of the peace and security that has been afforded since the Third Age began. So will this new world be a boon? Will it bring wealth, resources, power, strength, security? Or will it simply mark the first new beat of the drums of the Empire? And so our journey will begin here within the unassuming offices of the head and president of the Senate Council within the City of Doors. Each of you has been invited out to this location. You have been tapped for whatever reasoning. You've been noticed. And so they have brought you in because they want to hire someone to go with this expedition to help ensure that it succeeds, because this is very important to them. And so here's where our story will begin. As the city embarks upon a new venture, as new heroes begin to step up, and the City of Doors returns to its place it held during the Second Age, the central focus of adventure and intrigue across a complex and diverse weave that is all of everything. Is there anyone who would like to go first, or should we random roll?
I like the idea of random rolling for that. I can go first if nobody wants to, but
I think random roll would be nice.
Absolutely.
I vote roll.
just one thing. Could you repeat the name of this world beyond the veil that just been accessed?
Absolutely. That is the world of Yome.
Yome. Okay.
Yep, and spelled there in case you need that.
Perfect.
And so, a new story begins. Here in the unassuming offices of the president of the council, about early to mid-morning-ish, you could figure 9:30, 10 o'clock by our accounting, an individual comes stepping through the hallway towards the doors of the office here.
By the way, quick check, but I assume the southern portion to be an indoor area.
Yep, this is an indoor area that's got this like garden out here. You can see like through windows or something in some of the offices, you can see the gardens that's kind of outside. But through here, this is a hallway inside of a larger building that is kind of the senatorial chambers that sits in the center of the bureaucratic district of the city.
That's what I figured.
But we have here our first individual to show up.
Hey, I recognize that one.
So go ahead, introduce yourself and your character.
All right, so this is one who leans. He is, as most would describe it, a very peculiar sight. This entity appears composed of oversized mushrooms, corpse finger mushrooms to be exact, twisted together in a humanoid shape, topped with a large cap in which is embedded half a noseless face. Its whole body is a vibrant purple, highlighted with a solid blue. It's not wearing any form of clothing or armor, and it walks using a large quarterstaff as a cane. The crooked shape of its body apparently not allowing it to stand up straight.
Meow.
All right. You should have access and control of your character. You should be able to move around. You can drag or use the keys, however you like. These here are columns in like the center of the hall you're moving down. You've got these windows here that look out over a view of the prime plane below you and above you and around you. And then, just some nice house plants because they look nice.
Yeah, you always need a little bit of green in there. This one greets you, human.
The guard sitting outside the office just kind of turns towards you, and you see it kind of like tilt its helmeted head, and it just kind of gives you a nod of greeting, but it does not respond.
Is it you? This one must seek for more information about its summoning here.
You see it kind of like shift a little bit. It's clear this individual's not comfortable, or familiar with, being addressed or treated as anything other than probably furniture. And so just kind of shifting uncomfortably, just gestures towards the door. No way. I'm pretty sure they'll be in here. I just, watch the place.
This one thanks you.
Um, you're welcome. That one. As you step inside, there is an individual seated behind the desk who seems to be writing on, some papers, just doing some general office work, and they kind of look up at you, curl a brow a little bit. Just they give you this like head to toe kind of like, uh-huh. Yes. Can I help you?
This one greets you. It was told. It is here. It must be. It will receive more information about its summoning.
You're with the yes, the 10 o'clock group. Go ahead, have a seat. And they gesture over to one of the chairs, one of the benches in the room. You can pick one. I will I'll let Lord Cassius know, and when the rest of your group arrives, he will be ready to receive you.
It kind of just puts a foot on the seat, and doesn't look like it could really sit the way its body works. So it just looks at him and leans on his quarterstaff and slightly smiles.
The clerk kind of just like watches you for a moment, sees that you're clearly not sitting, and just nods. Very, very good, and just goes back to doing their work.
And I shall patiently wait.
Next, up these hollowed and storied halls, comes this individual.
Entering into the halls, You see this pale, sickly almost looking little twink, let's face it. And just thin, he's got his yellow eyes and dark mop of a hairdo. Looking like he hasn't slept, at least slept well in several days, but maybe that's just his general pallor. And he comes in wearing a long, almost floor-length charcoal or like slate-colored jacket. Sexy tall black boots, of course, and nice well-worn slacks. He just comes sliding almost soundlessly through the hall. Just observes the guard for a second, just kind of uncomfortably stares at him. This is the place.
Hey, I don't know. Maybe? Who are you here to see?
I believe I am wanted by Lord Cassius.
Then you're at the right place. It's the president's offices. In there. And he just gestures at the door.
Fantastic. Good talk. A little musty. Hello.
The clerk kind of looks up, gives you this look like, the audacity.
Yeah.
Greetings. Are you also here for the 10 o'clock?
Why, yes.
Very good. One of your other has already arrived and gestures over here towards the one who leans.
I see.
This one greets you.
Hello. I'm Seldov. I look forward to working with you.
Ah, this one didn't want to assume the traditions of this place. Introductions are in order. This one is called the one who leans.
Quite apt. Well. Well, hopefully you'll be able to lean on me as we become co-workers together.
Oh, this one has adequate support through this staff, but this one appreciates the gesture.
This will be fun.
Indeed. Regardless, find yourself a seat somewhere, and when the rest of your party arrives, you'll be lit in.
Sits down on the bench and picks up his black boots on the adjacent table. Just drapes himself over the bench, just eating up the space.
Absolutely, I love it. As Dove makes themselves a little bit more comfortable, someone else arrives.
Just gotta say that's 3 twos in a row.
Yeah, it's getting pretty interesting.
An old man just seems to just walk into the place gliding as if, slight mystical air about him. Each step punctuated by a tap of his quarterstaff that he's using to lean against. He walks up to the guard. Greetings. Is this where we are supposed to meet for this adventuring party that crossed my mother's desk?
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say yes. It seems you and the rest are all arriving here, so he gestures to the door.
Thank you very much. And then this man will enter in, his red robe billowing around him. Good morning.
This one greets you.
The old man's gonna turn towards the one who leans and goes, I don't immediately recognize you, but pleasure meeting you. I am Yozora. He turns to the accountant, or whoever this is, and it's like, were you the ones who put out the request for able-bodied adventurers?
The clerk sets down his quill for the moment, looks up at you, and just nods curtly. Yes, indeed. I do believe you're in the right place. The rest of your companions are slowly filtering in. Welcome.
Thank you. Yozora will proceed to find a place to sit. I'm not seeing immediately any chairs.
These are large benches meant for 2 people.
Okay. Well, just as Yozora's going to go sit down and pull out a book and start reading.
Okay. Well, that's a bookcase.
Oh,
Yeah, the
That
benches
works.
are here,
Mm-hmm.
here.
okay. So Yozora will sit next to the one who leans, simply because, honestly, there's a bit of curiosity there, having not seen a mushroom folk, or whatever the equivalent is.
This one thanks you for introducing yourself. This one is called the one who leads.
It is a pleasure to meet you, one who leans. As I have introduced, I am Yozora.
Have you perhaps information as to the purpose of our invitation here?
From what my mother told me, it seems that they are seeking able-bodied adventurers to go set up relations with a new world. I do not know much more. My mother was being a bit stingy with the extra information.
This one understands. It was, however, told of diplomatic goals.
Probably why my mother suggested for me to be here.
Perhaps interests will vary. I am curious as to who else will join us in this endeavor.
We can only wait and see. As my mother would always say, time waits for no one, and yet it always brings everybody to where they need to be.
Your mother sounds like a wise person.
She is probably older than everybody in this building put together, so I would hope so.
By the usual standards this one has been exposed to, this one does not contribute much to the average age. This one is 10.
That's actually old.
Yozora's going to nod, just like tuck away that information, and start reading his book.
While you guys are having your little conversation there, the clerk gets up, steps in the other room, and then returns a few moments later. And then out in the hallway, oh man, it's a 2 kind of night. This individual appears.
I want to do the math on that.
Yeah, right?
No one said there'd be math.
A gentleman walks in through the door and simply saunters up to the where the guard is and looks at him curiously with his ice blue eyes and simply greets him. Hello. Is this where I need to be for the meeting today?
Odds are a good chance, yes. In there. And he just gestures to the door.
Right, that was a 0.8% chance.
That's rad.
He simply walks in without a word and stops in front of the. He looks at the gentleman at the desk and simply asks, "Hello. Am I supposed to be meeting you today?"
Well, you won't be meeting me, no, but you'll be meeting Lord Cassius. Another one for the group, then go ahead, find a seat.
Very well.
I do believe you're almost all here. I only have a few notes. In fact, honestly, the one that I expected to see the most, I've seen the least, which is not at all.
He looks around, looks for a seat, and sees the handsome young rogue in the corner and looks at them. May I join you?
Slides over and in a chair. Oh, please, by all means.
Thank you. And he walks over and simply sits down and has his bow in his hand in front of him and just fiddles with it.
One who leans gives a nod. Greetings.
Hello. And who may you be?
This one is called the one who leans.
It is a pleasure. My name is Wither.
I'm Saildov. It's a pleasure to meet you, cutie.
It is a pleasure to meet you as well.
Yozora will wave, still nose buried in their book. I am Yozora. Pleasure to meet you.
It's a pleasure to meet you as well, Yozora. Is that a good book that you are reading?
From a certain point of view, yes.
As you all sit around and make your introductions and your greetings to each other, finally, a fifth individual makes their presence known in the hallway, the footsteps echoing off the wooden walls. And the last of our heroes arrives.
Coming through the door is a lady with very long blonde hair and wearing an armor, a chainmail armor of vibrant greens and very dark greens, almost reminiscent of the forest. Over that armor is a cloak of leaves as green and lovely as if they were still on their branch. And through the long air shoots a bunch of branches as if coming out of a bush. And on those branches grows a wide varieties of flowers and berries. Complete as if one could look at her and almost mistake her for a dryad. Seemingly nonplussed, she just makes her way to the guard. Hello, my good man. I believe I was summoned. Is this where I am meant to be?
For a moment, you can almost just feel the scrutiny coming off this guard, as your appearance does kind of, you feel almost trigger a heightened sense of observation in them. satisfied that you are in fact not any sort of magical being or anything, they finally kind of seem to relax a little bit and shoot you a nod, gesturing with their spear in their one hand. I do believe so. This seems to be the place. Yep, you seem to fit the bill. In there. They gesture at the door.
Thank you, my good man. Comes to the door. Well, welcomes and greetings. I believe I was summoned for a matter of exploration.
Ah, there you are. Yes, the only one I had any sort of real fitting description. Well, I suppose except the bartender here. This is the one with the green cloak. You see, it was an apt description. Yes, welcome. I do believe that's the entire group. And the clerk kind of looks around at all of you and down at their notes, and then just kind of nods. Go ahead, find a place to. I suppose there's no really other place to sit. Just a moment then.
This one greets you. Please take a seat.
Oh, do not worry. I will be very content with standing. I believe I spend most of my days sitting on my own mount.
As you wish. This one, however, is not physically capable of sitting. If you would prefer the position,
And
it is yours.
Philomene just gladly goes to a corner in front of the door and stands, the cloak covering her own arms.
Well, take a moment, I suppose. Get acquainted. I shall return, and let you know when his lordship is ready to receive you. And the clerk will disappear into the other room.
Zora's going to look up from their book and go, well, this is a interesting party they've assembled for this task.
Philomene will just give a curtsy and a bow and present herself to the rest of the group. Hello, my name is Philomene. I am a Green Knight of the Road, and I do believe I am a champion of the Tiny Faithfuls. And you can feel, as she say that last bit, that there's just that little tone of amusement.
Oh, a champion. Well, it is an honor.
Don't put too much weight into the title. I just help a small settlement of Fays with a problem, and they declared me their champion, and gave me some gifts. And to that she gestures to the cloak of living leaves and the branches and flowers coming out of her hair.
I'm sorry, I've got to double check. Who did you say you were helping or helped?
Just a small settlement of the of Fey folks that I happen to meet across the road. A few
No,
sprites.
just making sure I'm understanding this. You said Fey folk?
Yes, sprites,
Okay.
brownies, and the likes. They had a small settlement in a forest that I happened to go to.
Okay. Would I possibly, as the heir to the Fey Duchess, even if I'm never going to hit that point, know about this, being from the Fey Wilds myself?
That's a good question, which I'm gonna leave to Ironmark because that's not a point of my background I had detailed all that much.
Not necessarily. It was, would have been just like a fairly innocuous kind of event, just a happenstance meeting. So it's not, it wasn't like anything catastrophic or like high stakes by any means. So it may not have ever even come to the attention of you and yours.
Okay. Well, still, upon hearing that, that means Faye is going to raise in the standings of the group in Yozora's eyes, given their background.
Well,
Yep, I figured that might catch your attention.
Before I wanted to make sure I was understanding it. It's like, wait, am I hearing Faye or am I hearing something else here?
Well, no
Yeah,
need.
as I remember your character, it's tied to the face.
Yep.
What's up, Slappy?
Well, no need to be so humble. It sounds like you're getting along with Fey folks, then. We got ourselves an expert in diplomacy.
Like I said, do not put too much weight into it. I am mostly a knight of the road. I travel and I just keep the road safe. Through these travels, I happen to find a very small settlement of Fays and help them with some local trouble. And they decided to make me their champion. I do not believe this gives me any great standing among the Fays, but it is what it is.
It is still a merit in some forms, so be proud of it, nonetheless.
Oh, I certainly take pride in it. If anything, it has given me a small reputation on the road.
The door to the adjoining office opens. The clerk is standing there with a bunch of just like files and papers and books and some blank paper and a pen, and just kind of turns towards all of you, gestures inside, steps out of the way. If you would all be so kind, please. Lord Cassius will receive you.
Great.
Please,
Thank you.
before you, this one insists.
And Fanny simply steps in, finds a corner to step in, to park yourself at, and just stands again.
Zora will do something similar, just putting up their back to a wall as they close their book to pay attention.
There should be plenty of chairs. There's the couches, the lounge, of course. Wherever you need to sit, there should be plenty of room. Make yourselves comfortable.
Pulls a Riker and steps over,
Yes!
steps over the back of the chair and then just drapes himself across it
Yes,
dramatically.
Full
dominate
Riker
that
maneuver, I
chair.
love it.
Oh, that's lovely.
Dominate that chair. Show it to his master.
This one is most comfortable, rooted in soil. This one will not impose such things upon this assembly.
But I suppose that is appreciated. And if you want to move off the grid there, Kitsune, hold shift while you're moving your token.
I will fully admit I forgot that.
Yeah, no, by all means. It's been a while.
There we go. Now I'm on the couch.
Hell yeah. A fucking immersion, baby.
And while standing there waiting for everyone to take their places, Felimy will reach in a hair, pluck out a berry, and start mildly chewing on it, like it's a candy or something.
Wither just decides to sit back in the chair in the corner and props up against the corner itself, leaning back in the chair.
Okay. The clerk kind of just nods and gestures towards Lord Cassius over here. My lord, here you are. You're at 10 o'clock. I'll be taking notes and here if you need me.
Upon hearing that this is the Lord, Yozora will stand up and bow. Greetings. It is a pleasure to meet you.
He kind of just holds up a hand and, gestures for you to just sit and just kind of chuckles a little bit. Relax. It's not the lordship in so much as you might be used to, perhaps, with the different sovereign realms. It's more of an honorary title. I am the current president of the city's ruling Senate Council, Gaius Antonius Cassius, and it's a pleasure to meet all of you. Thank you for coming.
My lord.
Wither simply nods and looks at him.
And Felimy
This
will
one
give a-
takes pleasure in our meeting.
So there's this individual here. He's a very powerful, statured individual, broad-shouldered, well-built. He's definitely got that, well-toned physique, dark hair, the full-on traditional robes, the armor underneath. This guy embodies everything that is senatorial and council-ish.
And Felimy will give a bow and a curtsy and say, Greetings to you, Lord of the House. I hope the day finds you well.
Indeed, it does. I hope you all enjoyed Raven's Feast.
I heard some very interesting stories. Unfortunately, I did arrive afterwards. Uh, the Fae have some wicked sense of humor when it comes to timing.
If that isn't the truth.
I tend to spend most of my time on the road. The road is my home, so I would not know much of these celebrations. But I do find the seasons to be agreeable.
Well, there would be plenty of festivities happening at the Ring Finger, if we have the time.
This one took liberty of feeding itself before its arrival. It would not want to impose such sights upon this assembly.
Very well. Now, again, thank you all for coming. I'm sure you have some questions and some possible confusion as to why you're actually here, so allow me to address that. We'll get to it very shortly. Suffice to say, each of you, for whatever reason and in whatever manner, has been made note of, either by the offices here or by the Lord Hiro Hattori, the head of the Arcs. It seemed he had each of you observed. He'd heard exploits about you and was interested in your capabilities. Being on his radar put you on ours, and when it came time for a unique opportunity for all of us, ourselves and each of you, of course, it seemed prudent to bring you in, to bring you on board, and to enact our next plan, if you might accept such a ominous phrasing to it. We're planning an expedition to one of the lost worlds from beyond the veil, one of those that Rohala Sunwalker and the adventurers, the ones who were responsible for the incidents on Ederdesh that you may have heard of. If you've spent any time recently on the Prime Plane, it is absolutely possible that you've heard of incidents on the world of Ederdesh where there was a massive catastrophic loss of life and a shifting in that planet's ley line magical capacity and a repairing of its local timeline.
This one has not heard of such things.
No matter. They proved themselves resourceful and, well, they've helped reunite us with the Raven Queen herself. Though, of course, I haven't been able to host her, attend her yet. She does have her own duties. It is good to have her back amongst the good guys once more. Her presence has been oft missed, so it's good to have her again. Regardless, with the situation and the sense about the city, we decided to reach out through this expedition to one of these lost worlds to see what we can secure as far as resources and material and personnel. And we would like to hire you lot. This is the Senate Council directly. We'd like to hire each of you to go with this expedition to help make sure it is a success. And that is why your various skill sets have been put to great consideration when assembling this group. There are amongst you different advantages when it comes to different negotiations, diplomatic engagements, potential allies or diplomatic ties amongst each of you as well. And some of you are simply just skilled enough with your craft and your weaponry that having you along will keep things a little bit safer. And of course, a few of you are quite good at subtlety, and Gaius will shoot a wink at Dove. May have been some time since I've been to the Ring Finger, but I never forget my favorite bartender.
Ah, you flatter me.
Of course I do.
Wither comes off of leaning back and pulls out his short sword and leans, stabs it gently into the ground and leans on it as he continues to listen.
There's definitely going to be a distinctly raised eyebrow from Gilzora at that. And just as a point of caution, anybody who's actually paying attention might notice that on their hands there's a slight crackle of glittery green magic energy. Nothing overt, just a being ready just in case.
Wither notices this and looks over at him and says, "No worries. I'm not going to do anything."
Other than perhaps leave scuff marks on my floor. And Gaius just kind of like gives you this patient smirk. Regardless, it is again nice to see you all, and I appreciate that you all accepted the invitation and have come out. So, in that capacity, I would like to officially hire you, each of you, to go on this expedition. Your contract will follow along one very simple task. Establish a local stronghold, a base of sorts. As well as, of course, establishing the connection between the door here and the door there that will allow us to instantaneously move between the two. The actual traversing you will need to do will start here within the city. You will travel the way between realms to the door that opens up on the other end. You'll open it, and once there, you will establish the base. Once that's done and the settlement is established and considered permanent as far as our different considerations might matter, your contract will be filled. You may pursue whatever tasks after which that you wish, of course. Or you could remain on retainer and continue to work a capacity for the establishment that we set. Does that sound agreeable?
Certainly.
This
Yeah,
one
boy.
thinks itself capable.
I, for one,
Established.
always welcome the sights of new lands.
A chance to learn something new? Of course.
Establishing relations is something of a specialty of mine.
This one has a question.
Of course.
It is not interested in monetary compensation. However, it does have a request it wishes to make. Its cooperation is not conditional on the acceptance of said request. Its composition would consist of this request being heard by the Senate.
Intriguing. And allow me, if you may then, I retort that regardless your desire for monetary compensation, it will be granted, for we are a practical and pragmatic group, and currency does flow the universe. So whether you request it or not, or whether you truly want it or not, you will be granted a monetary compensation. That will be granted just in general. That does not mean that it is in replace of this other request. I, in fact, would be intrigued. Are you ready to make this request, or at least hint at it now, so that I could possibly ponder it and see what I could do to direct the Senate's attentions towards it?
Of course. This one would request assistance from the Senate to the people of the countryside on Troyloon. The people of Belgrand have been struggling to re-establish. And the happier the humans are, the more prosper our way of life, that of this one's people, can be.
That's a fairly complex yet straightforward request. It's not something that I would immediately dismiss out of hand by any means. And in fact, I could certainly see it being brought up. We could see what we could do as far as helping to assist the locals and your people, as well as the locals around, I believe, Greyhawk.
At the mention of that request, the Philimy would perk up and subtly pay more attention.
So, by all means, consider your request at least considered. And you can, of course, make lengthier and more full request to the official body of the Senate later, as needs be, if you so please.
This one thanks you. You
Indeed.
shall have its full cooperation.
This is excellent. Good to hear. And the rest of you, are there any other special requests?
The
No.
only thing I can think of would be access to a library when we are all done. I like to learn.
The city does have the greatest library in all of creation.
And I, from my point, merely welcome the chance to travel new lands and help the folks on the road. I shall grant my assistance as is needed.
Very well. You will certainly have your fill of that. And you have the beast, correct?
Ah, yes, I took the liberty of leaving it at the stable outside, or at least whatever was as close to a stable as I could find.
Very well. He turns and looks over at the clerk. Find that, have it taken care of, and move to the mustering grounds. Yes, sir. Clerk writes down some stuff.
Will you require my help in moving Bohan? She can be a little stubborn at times.
Nah. She will be fine. She's in good hands here.
Very well, thank you.
Of course.
This one does have another inquiry.
By all means.
It was provided a shield upon arrival. Are hostilities expected?
Almost certainly. While it is, of course, not our desire to see any sort of hostilities begin, it is almost impossible and inevitable that they will, in fact, take place. We are, after all, two different cultures meeting for the first time. Accidents do happen. And aside from that, humanoids across all of creation are prone to the same kind of unique proclivities. Bandits and thievery and trying to find the easy way out. Happens on every world and in every single civilization that we've ever come across.
This one agrees. It, however, believes peaceful solutions are preferable.
As do we. And for that we have the same mind. But we do prefer to be safe rather than sorry. So with any luck, you should not ever need that shield. But should the unfortunate occur, you will be ready. And for that, I will be grateful.
This one understands.
Very well. So in the interest of that, upon successful completion of your tasks and fulfillment of your contracts, each of you shall be granted a stipend of 10,000 gold, as well as at least one item out of the vaults, if you will. It would not be anything, obviously, from the archives or the forbidden archival and reliquaries, but something, substantial that you could then call your own, a token, a gift of sorts. Basically, you'll be gifted a magic item after completion.
Nice.
Ooh.
Wonderful.
Which will be on top of whatever you find along the way of the campaign.
This one is jubilating.
So, with that in mind, I do believe the next proper step would be to begin meeting with the delegates, those individuals you will be working for and with, who you will be responsible seeing their safety and delivering them to the world and then helping them to establish the base of operations there. We will go ahead, move you around here. I will introduce you to the first few who are just beyond that door there, and he gestures with his head, nodding towards this door over here. In the adjoining chamber, we were having a early morning discussion, a few of us, including the one individual that we know who is actually from that world. They unfortunately have not been there in some time, but we've gathered some information from them, so we're not going in completely blind, at least so we hope. Well, you'll be able to meet and judge for yourself. But regardless, you will meet with the delegates and then assemble at the mustering grounds, which is just at the northeastern section of the military district. The city watches one of their many outposts across the city. You will be meeting there, and from there we'll head to the Nexus Vault, the protected one and the center of the travel district. And from there you will use the door, and you will travel the way between realms. Are any of you familiar with the way between realms?
That's a good question.
Yeah,
Are
that is
any
a
of us
good
familiar?
question. What would we have to roll?
Go ahead, roll a history check to see if you've heard about it before, if you've learned about it in any way, if it's ever come across like any legends or books or anything you've ever read anywhere.
And I'm imagining that's the way some of us got here.
It's possible
jeez.
you may have seen some of it in some capacity or some form or another, or run across like legends or stories about it. And of course, there's always the possibility of, if you feel like your character probably has never even gotten close to that, you could choose not to roll.
Yeah, I could pretty much ignore my roll anyway, but yeah.
Fair.
That's actually a good question, since I'm not sure that would actually be a role for me, but my character is basically always on the road, just traveling wherever. Would she have come across one of those gates during her travel or anything?
Go ahead, make that history check. It's possible for sure. Especially anybody who does make a habit and a like trait basically of being someone who is traveling on the road. Absolutely, go ahead and make your history check for that for sure. There's always the chance.
If the question ever comes to like the Greyhawk countryside, I'll participate. But
No, absolutely.
Where? Okay, never mind. I wasn't finding the history. And like always, I double roll accidentally.
Well, I guess it shouldn't be a surprise that the Seal Dove, because apparently from what we gleaned earlier, he has a bar in the area, and the guy from the Feywild knows what the hell's going on.
It does make sense that the two people that rolled high rolled
Yeah,
high.
when the dice cooperate with lore,
Yeah, it's pretty good. For anybody who didn't either you spaced on that story when you heard it, or you have forgotten it, but absolutely, Yozora and Dove, you have heard of the Way Between Realms before. It is the space between the different worlds. So the world of doors obviously is connected. There are doors that lead between these different planets and that will take you anywhere. The city of doors being full of doors itself, and some of which open up to strange, mysterious, and unknown vistas and locations. The Way Between Realms is what exists between the doors. Now, normally when you open up a door, it goes from one room to another. Well, what if it didn't? What if there was a space between them? This is that space between them. It's kind of the film between reality and dream and the other realms. It touches anything and everything. It is everywhere. It always exists. It always has existed and always will exist, but has also never existed before. It's a kind of strange, malleable, unreality place, and it
Sounds
can be traversed.
sounds familiar.
Well,
Sounds
from,
like home.
well, from my history roll, I'll assume that I just never had to come across them from my travels, and that I will have heard the name, but never investigated further.
Yes, I have heard of this before. It's fascinating, if overwhelming.
That is a very good way to put it, indeed. So, you'll be traveling the Way Between Realms from our end here to, hopefully, the door on the other side that will open onto this new world. If the door, for whatever reason, cannot be found or cannot be broached, or if it is destroyed, if in whatever reason, manner, capacity, your task cannot be completed, your contracts will be nullified, you will be released, and you will be granted at least a stipend of some sort. It may not be the full amount and will likely not include a item from the vaults, but you will be compensated for any efforts you do put in.
Good to know.
Well, let's make sure we don't slip between the cracks then.
Just so.
Fair
And
enough.
your greatest task will be the safety and security of those individuals, these delegates you will be working with and helping to escort. You will have the members of the City Watch, a small contingent led by one of their lieutenants, will be going with you. But do not rely on them in any matter other than they are going to be the last line, those who will give their lives to ensure these delegates survive. And honestly, if it gets to the City Watch throwing down their lives, I do not see much success for the delegates either. Grim, perhaps, but realistic.
We will make sure that all survive as needs to be.
And what do these delegates have to do with anything on this?
Many of them are senators in and of themselves, some of them local business owners and influencers across the Prime Plane, those with different interests and different capacities who wish to see perhaps markets expanded for their products into new lands, or who seek out new resources or new types of opportunities, things to invest in. Others are simply interested as passing diplomats, allies of allies, you might say, who want to go and help show the good favor and cooperation between our interests here within the Prime Plane and the other worlds. What that kind of mutual cooperation and benefit can afford them.
I see.
Now, with that in mind, follow me into the adjoining room. We'll meet with some of these individuals.
Very well.
And you will step across the office and open up these doors and push through. The clerk will kind of follow through and find a spot. And as the doors open up, you see 3 individuals in this room. There is a massive hulking dragonborn individual with just the colors and the shields and the livery of the City Watch, who kind of just stands there looking larger than life and imposing and nods at you as you come in. Across the room, there is a tabaxi and very fine looking dress.
Philomene will, as usual, give a quick bow and curtsy as she gets past the Dragonborn and finds a seat.
And finally, there's an individual of a race that none of you are particularly familiar with. And as the door opens up and you filter in, you see this individual kind of scramble backwards in a almost a panic, like kind of like, oh no, stranger danger. This individual has the top half of what looks to be an elven-like figure, and then a bottom half that looks like a massive spider.
No. I don't bite unless asked.
I've
Well
seen
then,
your kind on the
that wasn't what I was
surface.
expecting when I came in here.
Philomene will just look at her and just look at this rider and say, "Well, I've not seen your kind on the surface much, but all the same, a warm welcome to you."
Wither decided to go through the smaller side door that he noticed as he was coming in the first time, and simply gives a nod to the tabaxi and gives a curious look to the half spider.
This one greets all of you warmly.
Ah.
So that's the placeholder art I have of him. The actual token art was done by one of the players.
Ah.
And the second
I-
that art looks
I can-
completely different than the avatar we have.
I can only be so turned on.
Right? I'm pushing the limits. Spidey boys.
And then you have your tabaxi and the fine livery over there.
Mm.
Is that a liar?
Yeah. Harp, lyre, basically. It's a small instrument.
Nice.
Small stringed instrument, so yeah. And then, of course, our big dragonborn friendly fellow here. Lord Cassius sees the individual kind of scrambling away, and he steps forward with a hand up. No, easy. It's okay. These are the individuals I was telling you about that are going to be traveling to your world. Oh, that's all you guys. Okay. Hello, I am Nim. He has a nice floppy hat on his head that he pulls off and he starts chewing on like he's eating it.
Why do I suddenly
A pleasure.
picture a camping spider?
With the big eyes.
The tiny ones with the big eyes and who like to wear droplets as hats.
Ah.
So, you guys are going to Yome, huh?
Oh, yeah.
It certainly seems so.
Seems to be the plan.
Neat.
As it appears.
And you'll be.
I used to live there.
And you'll be our guide, I presume.
No.
Anybody else surprised by that statement?
No, I'm not going back there. I hate that place. They kicked me out.
Oh. Well, what happened?
I made a few mistakes.
Do tell.
Well, the road forgives all, and I do hope you find solace in it.
Oh yeah, it's way better now. I've got a best friend and everything.
Oh, great. Things are looking up for you already then.
Yeah, she gave me this hat. And he chews on the hat some more. It's really good. You want some? And he will hold the hat out.
I'll pass for now, but thank you.
Izora will politely decline.
No, thank you. I have my own berries. And Felemy will pull another berry out of her hair and pop it in her mouth.
Instead, he will kind of walk over to this chair and step on it and then onto the table, and he will kind of crouch down and he will grab this book and shift it around. No, so I've just been telling him what I know about the different places.
This one is glad your situation is bettering. And
Yeah, it was
would
really good.
appreciate a recounting.
There was a time where it was really bad. I lived all by myself in this shack. I had this neighbor. Oh fuck! I hated that fucker so much. But my best friend, she killed him. It was really nice of her.
Well, good neighbor makes for good company.
Will we be meeting this best friend of yours?
I believe we are missing some context for that.
No, I don't think so. She's been really sad. Her sister died, or got stolen, or something. She's just been hanging out on they own a ranch or a farm or something. But yeah, she and her her boyfriend, and they got this kid. But he's not a real kid. He's a doll, but not a doll. He's got a soul of a halfling or something. I don't know. And oh yeah. And then there's Nez. and she punches things really good. She's very cool.
That sounds
That
like
was a
quite
long
story.
walk, but okay, good to know.
And Lord Cassius kind of gives you all a look of, and now you understand. Other than our friend here, Nim, an Arachni from the world of Yome, he has given us a little bit of information about the local area as far as he remembers it. Granted, he only knows so much about where he grew up and where he worked and some of the free states and the free area. So it's not a lot, but it's more than the none we had for sure. Allow me to also introduce, and he nods over to this individual, fellow senator, Gale of the Storm. She will bow to all of you.
Hello.
Pleased to make your acquaintance.
Wither nods.
Gilzora will
and-
bow back.
This one takes pleasure in meeting you.
Wither nods his head at her. What is your story to tell?
Story? I don't know about any story. I'm just here to do my right by my people. I hail from the world of Chromis. It is a troubled, sick, dying world, and I'm looking, hopefully, for places that are lush and fertile and willing to take refugees if possible. I'm going along on the expedition, so it is a pleasure to meet all of you.
Polite nod.
Wonderful.
Again, a quick bow, and well, then it will be a pleasure to work for the council on. I assume to your own benefit.
Well,
It is
Senator,
a pleasure. It's a
I'm-
pleasure to meet a fellow Tabaxi.
Just so. It's a pleasure to meet all of you. And yes, my hope is that it will help my people and my world. Very good. And of course, this hulking and imposing slab of dragon is Aaron Grayson, the current head of the City Watch. He will not be going on the expedition. He is simply here consulting and making sure that we have the information needed. He has, however, selected the lieutenant that will be going along with you all. A pleasure to meet you all.
Likewise.
It is a pleasure to meet you as well.
And I appreciate you supplying us with these warm bodies.
This one feels safe in your presence.
This is my only hope.
And where is this lieutenant of yours that will be accompanying us?
If he's doing his job, he should be at the mustering station now, finishing up final preparations to get the coaches and carriages ready to embark upon the journey.
Wonderful. I will
Very
have
well.
to get there as soon as possible. I can't wait to be reunited with Bohan.
So, Nim, what should we be expecting when we arrive at Yome?
Well, depending on where you arrive, you may find some different people. You may find no people. You may find like mountains. It's kind of like it's a whole world. Like, you know, there's like deserts and like jungles. There's a lot of water too.
Anything else?
Yeah, there are people.
Pardon this
Been very
one's
helpful.
curiosity. It is very curious about your people and what you could tell us about it.
Wait, what do you mean?
It is this one's first meeting with one of your species. It is
Whoa!
cu-
I've met a mushroom guy before, so you're not the first.
This one is glad. Perhaps you could tell it more about your people?
The doll child gave birth to two of you, in fact.
It is interesting to hear. This one was given birth by the mycelium mother.
No, these ones came out of a jar. Wait, was your mom a jar?
She was in the ground.
Was the jar in the ground?
There was no jar involved.
Then I do not understand mushroom folk at all.
This one would be glad to provide information.
Whoa! That is very kind of you. You remind me of my friend. And he continues chewing on his hat. We like magic. Yeah. And the great broodmother, like, runs everything and she makes all the rules.
Are your people approachable by strangers? Or are they likely to be hostile?
No, they don't hate strangers or anything. You know, if they don't know you, they might they won't invite you over, like for dinner or like a feast or anything. But they won't stab you right away.
Is there something they are particularly interested in? A resource? A service?
Pigment.
This one's thank you. You have been very helpful.
Yeah. They're like pigments. Like bright, pretty colors. Yeah. Because you see, it's a lot of like mountains and like rock and clay. So we don't have a lot of pigments and like pretty colors. Like purple is really hard to get. This is like yellow. So yeah. So and we also like art, like woven art. Like so we like dye, like thread, and then we weave it, you know, into like tapestries. And it's hard to get the right colors. So we like them.
It understands. Then let this one, and one who leans is gonna pluck one of the smaller mushrooms that grows on his hip, nice bright and purple one, and hand it to Nim.
Nim will walk across the table and take it from you, pull it close and hold it for a minute, stare at you. Whoa, is this like the one like my friend? Like she does like she like eats these and then she listens to music.
This one would not recommend consumption.
Don't
It is-
eat it.
It is, however, purple.
Yeah. But don't eat it.
This one could not advise that.
Man. That's been like one of the things out here. Is like so many things you just can't eat. And it's just like, but why? Like why would you make something you can't eat? What if you get hungry later? And he will sit down on the table and just kind of ponder this mushroom you've given him.
All right.
Everybody else just imagining this geek rider or his friend tripping out, and we come across them and they're just existing.
And at the thought of this, and after hearing this, Philly will pluck what little remains of her daily berries from her hair and just hand them over to the spider folk. Here, these can be consumed, and I do hope you'll find them to your taste.
You have food?
Ow.
Ow!
That was
And
amazing.
And she just hand over the berries. They grow out of my hair every day. I find them quite delicious, but I hope you will find them delicious too.
Then we'll get up, still holding the mushroom in one hand, and we'll quickly scramble across the table, knocking over books and scattering paper, and we'll gratefully take the food that you have offered, and we'll eat it immediately.
Wither cautiously grabs out one of his arrows, but doesn't move at all. Other than that,
Elimi just watches with an air of amusement, while also trying to put back in place some of the things that have been knocked over.
So yeah, any other questions? Nim likes to help.
You've been of great assistance already.
I sure have.
Well,
I have a best friend.
they're so lucky.
Oh, glad to make your acquaintance too.
Yeah. Nice to know you and meet you.
Well, if there are mountains and deserts and jungles and a lot of water, how's the weather? Is it habitable?
Oh yeah. It's nicer there than it is in the ways. So you got that to look forward to. Like, you go through the ways, and that's gonna be the worst because that place sucks. And then you'll be on Yome, and that place, like, it sucks, but not as bad. It's nice weather. Sometimes it snows.
And I presume sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah, a lot of time it doesn't.
Very good. Well, I'm satisfied.
Do you know of other species on Yome?
Oh yeah, there's a bunch of them. Okay, so like my best friend's sister, she had this guy, right? That she was like all googly-eyed over. He had a couple of the guys from my world that I haven't seen since. Big dog guys. We call them Okami.
I see. That will be wonderful to make their acquaintance too.
And then there's some like you. And he starts pointing around the table at like basically everybody in turn.
Mhm.
Yeah, there's all of you. And then there's all of like different not of yous. Like there's little you know what a kobold is?
I've met a few on
Indeed.
the roads, yes.
This one
Yeah.
does not.
They're like that one, and he points at Aaron over here. They're like that one, only like small. And like like lizard folk like are smaller, but like smaller than that, like little lizard folk. That's like a kobold. These are like that, but they're like rats, like big rats, but small, like kobolds. Yeah.
A very apt description.
But yeah, that's some I haven't seen like around here. Like me, I'm unique. And he beams proudly and chews on his hat.
Oh, thank the gods.
Wither just sighs and shakes his head. And lets go of his arrow finally.
Sorry, you killed me with that. Gail will kind of just sigh softly, lean in her chair, and just look around at everybody as like, and now you understand.
Yozora will catch her eye and just like, yeah, this is a nod of, yep.
Lord Cassius will just kind of shake his head and gesture to all of you. Now, if you have any questions for Aaron here, perhaps about the watch or the general security, by all means, anything about the delegates or anything that you might need provided, you can address with Gale. And then anything you want to ask about the world of Yome, you can ask Nim, and good luck. Yeah, I'm a challenge.
This one thanks you, Nim. You give it great hope that this endeavor will be successful.
And this Nim thinks you're neat.
Well, if we are to take some of your advice, if maybe the clerk's office has any supply of inks or paints, be more than happy to take that with us in case there is an opportunity for diplomacy.
This one agrees. This one's party should be made aware of all the sets available for trading and negotiation.
Absolutely, and I'm of the same mind. We've had some extra pigmentation and different dyes and paintings and even brushes and vats added to our long list of things we're taking with us, just on the off chance we happen to run into Nim's people. We wanted to set off on a good foot.
Great.
Well, I'm not entirely sure what the travels to a new world entails as far as preparations go, but I, for one, am at home on the road, and I shall do as my usual and ensure that so are your delegates.
There are roads.
Yes, I will be quite glad to find and explore those roads.
There's a big road here. He just stares at you.
Big road.
Yep.
Well then, that's wonderful to hear.
Among our supplies, should we encounter something other than opportunities for diplomacy, will there be, how do I put this? What sort of weapons will we be taking with us?
Aaron kind of nods at you. Sending a detachment of city guardsmen and watchmen under the... And he kind of pauses for a moment as he considers. Under the capable guidance of Lieutenant Batcat. They'll be armed with standard spears and weaponry. There's also going to be at least 2 of the elite city guard. The city lords, if you've seen them around, there should be a few here and there. The 7-foot-tall copper skeleton things. There'll be at least 2 of those with you. And they will have the standard spears as well.
Oh, good. That is reassuring.
And I assume any civilians that will be part of our little troop will be traveling on a caravan.
Mm-hmm. Caravan and cargo trailer and wagon and basically whatever else we can manage to stuff through the door.
Wonderful, as long as they are properly defended and provide adequate defense in case of attack.
As best as we can. Now, we're also going to be providing different weaponry. As far as Nim has been able to assure us, this world does not have gunpowder, so we won't be sending any of that, unless, of course, you need it for yourself personally. We won't handicap you in that manner, but we are not going to be sending any of our own gunpowder weaponry or any of the gunpowder techniques or technologies that we have, aside from perhaps some heavy cannon, should we get the establishment built and the base set up there.
Ah yes, best to avoid introducing any new elements in a new world.
This one trusts in this delegation's security. It will, however, not be taking a weapon.
Very well. You'll have some available, of course, should you want to make use of any. Other than that, you lot will be probably the tip of the spear, the vanguard, if you will. You'll be the first to know of any danger, of anything you're sticking your face or your feet into.
Well, just the way I like it.
As long as we do not get punched by an angry gargoyle.
What if he's like mildly mannered or just ill-tempered?
Then I guess that might be acceptable.
Yeah. I don't know if there are any, but I just wanted to make sure.
Nim, this
Okay.
one has one last question.
Hello.
What of the religion on your world?
Which one?
Is it prevalent?
Yes.
This one thanks you.
But also no. There is a myriad of different deities and worshipped individuals. The greatest worship on Yome is that of the long forgotten and lost emperor. Blessed be his name. Long live and long reign. It's a weird worship, considering he died 1,000 years ago.
This one understands. Worship sometimes evades the rational.
But the biggest thing is just spirits in and of itself. A lot of people hold to spirits and the different kind of the sense of ancestors, you know?
This one sees. Are any of the myriad divinities on your world associated with a life?
Yeah. There's the Great Glade. It's like a bunch of trees and life and shit. People worship it, and they say that the spirits of good fairies and shit inhabit it and make it good, and people revere it because they say that's what makes life good is those things. But I disagree. I think what makes life good is the way things taste. And he chews on his hat.
This one understands that to all must come their own appreciation of life.
Yeah. And I appreciate that.
Zelda just reaches in his pocket and pulls out a little flask. I say the spirits do make life enjoyable.
Aaron catches that and he grunts a laugh.
I keep forgetting I'm on push to talk. I keep trying to say stuff.
You certainly do.
Now then, the choice is yours. You can go with Gale, and you can meet some of the other delegates on your way to the mustering station and the current residences, or you can simply await them at the mustering station and proceed from there.
Well, if we are going to be traveling together, we may as well keep our acquaintance. I'll be more than happy to follow you, Gale.
Very good.
Lead the way, please.
This one is ready.
I'll follow.
Let us go then.
Very good. I will see all of you later. And once more, thank you for agreeing to this. My clerk will attend you at some point with the proper paperwork. We'll get your contracts filled out and ready for you to sign. And we'll have your rewards and your payment, of course, waiting upon completion of the contracts. In the interim, if there's anything that you believe you would need that may help guarantee the success of your venture, please let my clerk know. We'll see what he can do for fulfilling your requests in the interim.
I might have
There
a
will-
few.
Very
Just
well.
so.
Anything of an alchemical nature. Healing potions, alchemist fire, supplies like that.
Mhm.
That'd be
Absolutely.
acquirable.
The clerk writes a bunch of stuff down. We'll see that there's a supply of those ready for you before we embark.
Fantastic. We wouldn't want things going south.
Quite.
About the only thing that I would request is to make sure there is an additional food
Yeah.
supplies of food for my own mount. I'm sure you have already planned out all your rations, but if you could add a little more for rations for Bohan, I'm sure I would appreciate.
Absolutely. We'll make sure that your beast of burden is well taken care of.
Wonderful.
And there should be a supply of funding and coin that you could make use of on the trip as well, should it come to the point you need to make any purchases or anything local. As far as we've been able to ascertain from NIM, gold should still work there just as well as it does anywhere else.
And
Well, that's
Yeah.
good to know.
Well, precious metals that do tend to hold the same value regardless of its minting.
would there be a blacksmith or an armorer along with the ride?
Perhaps not immediately. We're not sending one with, but by all means, if you find one locally, see what you can do to possibly hire them. That would be a good win, a good grant for the settlement that we establish. But if it's impossible, then by all means, we can add that to the priority of phase 2, making sure we get a smith or an armorer of some sort out there.
Very well. We'll keep an eye out.
And with that, Cassius will throw a nod to Gale, who will get up from her chair and will make her way to the door. Feel free to follow along. I'm going to take you to the offices of some of the delegates in the lower sections. And then we'll stop by the residences where the rest of them are currently holed up, waiting our final departure. And once we've met everyone, we'll head to the mustering grounds near the City Watch headquarters, and we'll from there travel to the Nexus Vault and then into the Ways. And she will
Let us.
Very well.
go ahead.
I was gonna say, just let us proceed then.
And she will make her way down the hallway, leaning towards some stairs. We'll head to the lower floors.
Definitely imagining Gale has a very sashaying walk.
Oh, absolutely.
And Wither's definitely watching contently.
As we're walking, one who leans is gonna approach Seldov and go, Seldov, was it?
Yes. You can call me
This-
Dove if you like.
Understood. This one has an inquiry.
Go on.
This one is familiar with things relating to death as it was born from it. There is an aura about you that intrigues it.
You see his face just darken, just... Oh.
This one does not mean to pry.
Well, I guess we'll get along swimmingly then.
Just gives you a nod and doesn't push further.
This like kind of gradual reclamation of control over his demeanor as he just Maybe we'll speak on it more later.
This one appreciates it.
I'll catch up. Get over the rest of the group.
These offices here are some of the lower floors, more minor diplomats and the newly elected senators and representatives, usually individuals from New Worlds that have joined. We will be moving to Graham, and she gestures this direction. We're moving to Graham's office. He's been influenced by Lord Cassius to become the de facto leader on this expedition. We'll be taking point on it. And I feel you should meet him, since he'll sort of be in charge.
Understood.
Wither nods and follows.
And as you approach the door, you can hear voices from inside. It sounds a female voice and a male voice, and they're going back and forth. It seems a little bit heated, not like an argument, but definitely a impassioned conversation. And Gale knocks on the door, and it quiets down, and finally you hear a male voice, "Come in!" She'll open the door and step inside, allowing you all to follow. Hello, Graham. Cestia, it's good to see you as well. These are our escort, who will be following us on the expedition. We just met with Cassius and Grayson a little bit ago, and Nim. And you see Graham kind of roll his eyes at the mention of Nim. This is Graham Noblewillow, newly elected from his district. He has so far been an excellent asset to the Senate and has been very helpful. He's been asked to lead this expedition, and I do believe he has a background and interest in exports and shipping specifically. He is looking, I believe, to possibly expand those markets into other places. Cestia here, however, is a newly elected representative as well. She's also currently the youngest member on the council, and she is going because they think it'll be good for me. Yes, there is discussion that this will put some experience under her and mature her a little. It's ridiculous. I just want to get work done, and then want to have a fluff piece to make the people feel good. As you can tell, Cestia does not exactly hold towards politics as usual. She just wants to get work done. And he kind of smirks.
Well, I appreciate the enthusiasm. That's something I think is respectable and quite laudable.
She sounds like one of my distant aunts.
Lovely. And pleasure to meet all of you, of course. Look forward to working together. Hopefully, none of you are as foolish or as pig-headed as some of these fools are.
Hmm.
And she kind of sends a glare at Graham and storms out.
I like her already.
This one has not noticed anyone with a porcine head.
Well, this will make for a lovely traveling group.
You can ignore her. Young and impassioned and thinks she can change the world. I suppose in this case, the universe. She'll learn.
We all had that feeling in our younger years.
But yes, good to meet you all. I'm Graham Noble Willow, as Gale here has already introduced. Thank you for agreeing to join us on this expedition.
The pleasure is ours.
Thank you
It
for
is-
deciding to lead it.
Of course, it would be my honor to do my duty for the city and for the council, as is possible. Of course, once Lord Cassius, told him to. He shoots a look at Gale before turning back to all of you. Regardless of Lord Cassius's feelings on my involvement here, I was happy to do so.
Well then, welcome aboard the traveling group.
So there he is. He's very much pomp and circumstance and wearing this very traditional but more modern aesthetic kind of attire.
Now that's some cool facial hair.
He's got some chops.
Definitely looks official.
Can I get a read of the room here between Gale and Cessia? Is Graham respected?
If you want, go ahead and make that insight check.
Ooh, would like to make that as well.
Absolutely.
As would I.
Wither doesn't really pick up on any sort of subtleties going on here. Dove, you definitely pick up on at least some of the more outlying kind of feels of what's going on here. And you definitely get a sense that Gale doesn't see Graham as an equal, but at least as useful. And then one who leans, absolutely, you pick up on all the subtleties just immediately. Maybe it's a pheromone that you can sense in the air. Gale thinks Graham is an idiot and a puppet, and she has zero respect for him.
Huh.
But she is happy to go on this expedition to try and further the pursuits of her people.
Okay. Noted.
Good to know.
But yes, Graham, I thought it would be helpful for our group here, our friends, to meet with the expedition members and get a feel for the different faces they'll be working with.
It is certainly most welcome information. It is good to know who gets along well with who before hitting the road.
Absolutely, absolutely. That does make quite a lot of sense indeed. I was just about to head out to the residences myself. If you would all like to come along, we can go there and meet with the rest of the group that is awaiting us. And then from there, I suppose we could head off to the mustering stations. And if we're lucky, we might even leave today.
That sounds like a wonderful idea.
Great.
From what I've been told, these types of expeditions do tend to take a while to get going.
No, they certainly can. The planning is very intricate, very precise. Don't want to do anything incorrectly or improper. You want to make sure everything runs smoothly, at least as smooth as possible. And
This one looks forward to meeting new people.
Indeed, we've not had any myconoids along the ride anymore. We do, of course, have one within the Senate, Poached Twiglet. He is irascible, if not a well-respected member. Yes, good old Poachy. But yes, of course. And if you have any questions for me or the expedition, please just ask. If there's anything you want to know, I will do my best to see that I am able to give you any and all answers.
This one must know. Have there been hostilities already on the other side?
I assume so. It is, after all, a world like any other. I assume they've had their fair share of wars and conflicts and misunderstandings. We have not yet had official contact with them, so there's been no hostility between us and them, of course.
That is preferable.
I assume any outings on the other side have been sparse and few for the time being.
Indeed. Our knowledge of what lies beyond that door so far has been left to what few books we've been able to find in the library that even mention this world. The experiences of Nim and the small bit of information that the individuals who discovered the location of this world, and of course what Rohala Sunwalker himself may have had to add to the entire list, but it's been fairly limited as far as our knowledge.
Understandable. It is a new world after all.
One I am looking forward to seeing. I want to know what knowledge they have on that side of the divide.
Indeed, indeed. The fact that it is a world from beyond the veil is one that truly intrigues us, and also concerns us. After all, the Empire of Shadow is still out there. It could be they've already been to this world, or perhaps they've not found it before, in which case we have an ally yet in the fight against them.
Then that is a good point. We should learn about that and hopefully gain some help.
Well, yes, it would be quite nice. But yes, by all means, if you have no other questions, or if you do have more questions, feel free to ask them along the way. But let's just head to the residences and see who we can muster up and bring with us.
Indeed. I'm sure we'll have plenty of time to talk among ourselves.
And you will move out and down the hallway.
Let us get this show on the road.
And Gale will close the door and follow along.
My goodness. Hello. Jesus. Yeah? Yeah.
As the party proceeds out of the official senatorial buildings and kind of down the road a little bit, still within the bureaucratic district, you come to this nice, like very clearly large tavern. The bottom floor being just like a lot of restaurants and bars, and then the upper floors being rooms, usually reserved for visiting important individuals, or in this case, a bunch of delegates who may not be staying within their normal residences, within their districts, or on their different worlds that they represent, but instead gathered together in one location to move around and eventually travel beyond the stars.
What?
This place looks very quaint.
Supposedly, it's based upon some place that the city lord once knew on his homeworld. But regardless of that, it is quite quaint and very comfortable. The rooms can be rearranged and adjusted as needed. If you need more or less room, of course, if you have a personal delegation that you want with you at all times as well. But the large room down here, this meeting room, and he nods to each of these doors. It's normally a ballroom. You can see we moved the piano out. And at the moment, it's a bit of a de facto office for individuals who normally don't always have offices or work here within the city itself, who might be from other cities or other places around the different swath of creation.
Yeah, interesting.
Well,
But I expect we'll find at least a few more expedition members, so if you will, feel free to follow along. And I'll open the door and walk in. The rest of you, good luck. I will catch up here shortly. But I need to see a small man about some business.
Oh no.
Thank you for guiding us during this time.
This one had great pleasure in meeting you.
As you step into the room, you can see that it has been very heavily rearranged. There's a lot of furniture kind of pushed towards the wall, and there's some like desks and tables brought in that look like they don't always normally sit and exist within here. There are books, and you can see just like all over like the table, the ground, where people have been going through, researching different things, looking up different things, and just a lot of work that's been going on here. And you can see a individual here who is kind of patiently standing there, hands on the chair in front of them as they are looking at these other two who appear to be currently in some sort of heated discussion. But they will all turn as you all filter inside and grow quiet.
A good day to you then. I do believe you are also to be part of the caravan.
Indeed they are. Allow me please to introduce fellow senators, Zolna, and he gestures towards the Loxodon over here. And then,
Pleasure.
and then here we have Pani Dreamcaller Kwalai Gavone.
Okay, now that's a cool hat.
That was a mouthful of a name.
Pani here, who is this towering individual, a Goliath, in fact. Just stands there and turns slowly towards each of you and just gives a gentle bow of her head.
And
Yozora will bow back.
Similarly, so does Philly me.
And of
Wither will-
course,
Wither
Go
will
ahead.
look up at her and just simply tilt his head curiously.
last but not least, not a fellow senator, but a fellow diplomat and one interested specifically in negotiation and trade, a emissary from the plane of shadow, hailing, in fact, I believe, directly from the Lord of Shadows estate. We have here Lord Athos.
Pleasure to make your acquaintance.
Good meeting. This one greets all of you.
It is a pleasure to meet you all.
A pleasure to meet all of you as well. Please forgive the heated words Zolna and I were exchanging. Zolna simply does not understand that life sometimes cannot be the most precious thing. Sometimes we must protect our interests and our resources as well. And I was simply saying that maybe we shouldn't just casually and callously dismiss life and throw them away in the interest of trying to secure our borders. Pawnee remained silent.
Well, these are certainly interesting views that will be wonderful to discuss as we travel the roads.
But forgive, yes, our heated discussion. We are clearly very passionate about what we believe in and how and why. But it is a pleasure to meet all of you.
This one agrees that life is of utmost importance, but it also sees that to secure it, other matters are to be considered.
And if I may ask, Athos, what interests do you value?
My job is to secure the cooperation and assistance of the City of Doors, as was promised and governed by ancient treaties between the Lord of the City, Elmdor Septimus, and an ancient right with the Lord of Shadows, my master, my patron, and my honorable governor. The war in the Plain of Shadow requires that we secure the city's assistance. And to that end, I would also see our interests on other worlds secured and passed on. My hope is that by showing that the City of Doors and the Prime Plane can work together even with the Plane of Shadow, that others would be more apt to cooperate than to put up a fight. Because imagine the combined might of the Prime Plane and that of the Shadows. It would be a formidable foe.
I can see how that would be an interesting alliance.
An encouraging example is worth 10 threats.
Let's hope these goals are achievable. It's not been my experience that the Realm of Shadow has been cooperative in the past.
Perhaps, but the Realm of Shadow is as varied and wild and chaotic, perhaps, as the rest of creation. One kingdom upon the Lord's reign is not the same as any others. That's perhaps why, in fact, there is the current war. The Lord of Undeath has overstepped his bounds and reaches beyond his means, and the Lord of Shadows would remind him whom he serves and who is the rightful ruler of the Shadowfell.
You have my interest.
After all, the Lord of Shadows does have his wife to consider, and now she, in fact, has returned. With the Raven Queen returned once more, there are strengthened ties between the Plane of Shadow and the city grow tighter. We are incentivized and encouraged to work together. Meanwhile, the rapscallion that is Mikhail Ruthven, he runs rampant and wild across creation. His damnable wife has even been seen on other worlds, trying to drum up new vampire broods on worlds that do not yet have the menace that is vampirism.
Well, if we do come across them, it shall be a thing to consider how we approach the matter.
Dove just swallows.
Forgive me, I spoke perhaps a bit too hasty. Calling it such as impolite and honestly disingenuous to those of vampiric nature who perhaps are less apt to being vermin upon creation and who want to see cooperation and success brought to all. Pawnee at that nods slowly, with a smile across her face.
This one believes in open arms with a firm hand.
As you yourself said, cooperation equates a good example, and through this we can truly advance.
Oh. Speaking of vermin, Mech. Good to see
The door has opened and Gale has returned with someone else in tow. A goblin who seems to be very full of himself and very smug and very pleased with everything going on.
Well. Look who it is. How's the day treating you?
Yours?
This one greets you.
Dove, good to see you. Yeah, imagine.
Yes.
Vermin, right?
Oh yes, wonderful to see you as always.
Yeah. Look. You can mess with Keck all you want. You can mess with Mech, Lek all you want. You can mess with Jack all you want. But I tell you what, don't ever fuck with Deck. That guy's fucking crazy. Yeah, he's my cousin. Anyways, good to see you, Dove. Let me just say, in interest of cooperation and getting along, I ain't here to fuck it with you. I ain't here to screw you over. I'm here to make a buck. And this world seems ripe for it.
Of course, any new opportunity, a new chance, jolly cooperation.
Zora is from his position near the door, just looking between Dove and Mech with a distinctly raised eyebrow, just of what?
Let me ask you this, Dove. You interested in working for a real business now? Instead of you fucking run down shithole? What is that, the middle finger?
Oh. No. My friend, you know I keep the doors on that place.
Oh, I tell you what, I'm real glad when I heard that they were inviting you on this. You know why?
Do tell. Isn't it because of my charming personality?
You will take a step closer and kind of like look around, giving that conspiratorial kind of like, I'm going to tell you a secret look.
Mm-hmm.
Because it means we've got someone competent on the damn crew. And I mean that, 100%. Hatchet buried and all that. So, it's good to work with you.
Well, you do have a good eye, don't you? You can
Hey, what can I
tell.
say? You're the best part of your entire fucking shit-ass boss's operation.
Well, I'll be happy to pay the compliment forward.
Yeah. We'll figure out your pay later.
Hmm.
Yeah, and he will shoot you a wing.
This one appreciates your cooperation and reassures you that it has no interest in sexual endeavors either.
Whoa! Wait a minute. Hold on. The hell are you? You want? Oh, wait.
Zora, in this thing, there's just a distinct, just a small snort, and that's about all they managed to get past the calm facade.
Like, no offense meant, but I legitimately thought you were someone's familiar.
Wither chuckles to himself.
This one is called One Who Leans.
Oh, wait. Is this like that Twiggy guy? The fucking, the fungus folk.
This one believes this is a correct appellation.
Yes, Mech. Yes, that's exactly. Well, good to know. Good to know. Nice to meet you. So wait, you ain't interested in coin? You ain't interested in fucking? Ugh, what the fuck motivates you people?
A place for my own people and cooperation with our neighbors.
Holy shit, this guy's for real?
And as for me, the discovery of new worlds, of new lands, and the pleasures of just traveling the roads. It will be-
Holy shit, we're fucking doomed.
Can you imagine? Someone even you can't buy.
Yeah, I fucking hate it. This is the fucking worst. Holy shit.
Yozora will simply just gesture to the book in his hands. Knowledge is all I seek.
Gale, what the fuck is this shit?
This one assures you, while it is no fighter, it was birthed by the Mycelium Mother as a diplomat and healer.
Hey, as long as I can gamble somewhere, I'll be fine.
Hmm.
Now we're talking. Somebody I fucking understand who's speaking the right common language. Holy shit.
Well, Mech, was it? I do believe that we are about to find a new world. It will be an opportunity to broaden your horizon.
Yeah, it's gonna be an opportunity to deepen my pockets for sure.
Yozora, feeling a little tricky, just speaks in Goblin. Is this a language you speak?
Looks up and stares at you for a moment. Yeah?
Well, I thought you said that everybody else didn't speak, but there was only one person in this party that spoke a language you understood.
Are you still speaking Goblin?
Yes.
Okay. Hold on, I needed some water.
No worries, this is, I don't... I'm just making this
Yeah,
up as I go,
but-
as obviously.
A gravelly voice like that, I suppose you need a lot of water.
Responding to you in Goblin, Mech will kind of look around for a moment. You know, Luddy, the way that I see it, these are the photos that are talking about, having preserved sensibilities, keeping alive the lives, and, I'm just wanting to make coin. Goblin in my setting sounds like a shitty Irish accent.
I was about
Perfect.
to remark, I wasn't expecting Irish.
Yep.
I'm not going to try
okay,
and imitate that.
Well, I've pretty much been making it my own canon that most of Fays are Irish or Scottish.
I'd just go for a pint of the black stuff.
Fays.
Do you also speak Goblin?
No, I don't.
Alright.
I speak.
This was about to be perfect.
No.
But yeah, it's a shitty, like, Irish-Scottish kind of,
Okay.
yeah.
I speak Undercommon, so it's like Northern Irish.
Yeah.
Out of curiosity, are goblins related to Fays
Fair
either
enough.
closely or
No, they're, goblins are their own kind of branch of humanoid of the goblinoids, which will include orcs, hobgoblins, bugbears, etc.
Okay, I was just referring because I know in some settings goblins are considered like a distant branch of the Fae or...
Yeah. No, absolutely. Yeah, no, it was a good question to ask for sure.
If they were a distant branch of the Fae, I wouldn't need to bloody learn their language to speak to them.
Yeah, well,
But yeah, I'm just looking to make some coin.
I see. Well, I guess there is a language we can all speak.
I find this is the language I speak now. And I'll switch back to common. But yeah, so good to, I guess, meet all of you. Or something.
That'll be to be determined.
pleasure is shared.
But yeah, you kid, you wanna fucking gamble. We'll fucking talk.
You'll
Well-
probably end up losing your shirt.
Like you.
While Mech is over there chewing the scenery, I'm gonna sidle over to Athos and quietly, in Infernal, I think you and I have the potential to get along. Just please, try and downplay the vampirism bit, if you don't mind.
You'll see his face for a moment kind of shows like the barest bit of surprise and at that as you speak so easily and fluently in Infernal, and then he kind of slowly smiles, like one corner of his mouth tilts up. What's up?
I'm about to say, can I roll to hear that? Because I wasn't actively listening, but I also speak Infernal.
Yeah, you can roll a perception, see if you pick up on it. It seems you're more interested in Goblin with Mech over here.
Okay, fair enough.
But replying it also in Infernal, Ithos will kind of just nod, inclining his head just a little bit. Ah, you're not one of the brood, are you?
No. We have crossed paths, though.
I see indeed. Very well then. My apologies if I offended. I'll do what I can, perhaps, to keep that on the back burner, as it were.
Appreciate it.
But you certainly have my attention now.
Just smile. You as well.
Graham kind of looks around, realizes no one's really paying attention to him. Everybody's kind of paying attention to the other individuals, and feeling inadequate and a little bit put off by that, kind of just puffs himself up a little. But yes, anyway, this is the other members of the expedition. I believe we'll be heading to the mustering station next, to preparing to actually move out and head to the way between realms, unless anybody needs something here.
I'm all set. Thank you, though.
No, I do believe we should be setting on our way. And as I previously said, I can't wait to be reunited with Bohan.
I believe we've wasted enough time exchanging pleasantries.
This one is ready whenever the party decides.
Please, don't let me keep you. Mysterious mouse movement.
With that, the group, like Graham, will kind of start scrambling, scooping everybody up, ushering them, shepherding them out the door, back down the stairs, and you will leave the residences, and different members of the staff will kind of see everybody getting together and packing up and leaving, so they will start packing as well, and eventually you'll have this almost as this massive delegation kind of following you across the city, and you will move from the bureaucratic district, where there's these different diplomatic buildings, to the great senate halls, all the offices, the city lords, residual estate, and all that can be found. And you will move towards the military district. And there are various different buildings in that district, and you will eventually come towards one where you can hear a lot of the loud sounds, and you see different porters and laborers moving large crates. There's a lot of large carriages and wagons and everything being moved around.
As we make our way there, could one who leans have a word with Gale?
Absolutely.
Gil,
Hmm.
this one has a suggestion.
Hmm.
This one understands that you are looking for a place for your people. This one is familiar with that kind of situation, and should our endeavor prove more difficult than anticipated, while this one does not speak for the humans on its world, its community weighs heavily on the mandates of Belgrand and the villages in proximity. Should you not find place for your people on this new world, I am sure ours would appreciate any helping hand that volunteers.
You mentioned you were from Trelune, correct?
That is true.
I've met with some of the delegates and council members from Trelune and have brought up my world's personal needs and concerns, and unfortunately, has been stonewalled, met with a, well, we simply can't afford to take care of everyone kind of attitude. And well, I suppose I do understand and appreciate that kind of sense. It does feel dismissive at best.
It is true, and this one finds it somewhat concerning, considering the situation. This one's offer remains on the table. While it is not pertaining to any major settlement, small villages do have capacity to welcome some people.
Your offer is certainly appreciated, and the gesture more than simply appreciated. It is a genuine act of kindness, and is the sort of thing that eventually led me to this. And she kind of gestures around towards everything, to this business. Once long ago, I was an adventurer, simply moving about and doing as you do, and well, now I advocate for my people and my world.
A most noble endeavor. You should take pride in it.
And I do quite a lot of it, in fact. It's nice to see the results at times. And again, thank you for the offer. I will certainly take it into advisement, and it could be a possible temporary stopgap. If nothing else, I could see some of the different, I suppose, at least common species between our worlds relocated, so that we're not simply like introducing a unknown into a never before seen.
That is probably wise, as the people we are settled with have been met with quite the unknown in this one's own people.
Was there anything else, or should we catch up?
Yes, let's catch up. Thank you for lending me your ear.
Thank you for the offer of kindness. And go ahead, give yourself some inspiration for that.
Yay! I'm an inspired mushroom.
It do be true.
Hmm.
An inspiration in my games is basically you just can re-roll a d20. You can use it on other people's rolls if you'd like.
Oh, cool.
shit.
Like if somebody does like a skill check or an attack or something,
Yeah,
you're like,
no,
I would
I
like to use
knew-
inspiration to reroll that.
Yeah, I'm familiar with the reroll aspect. I didn't know you could do it on somebody else's roll. That's cool.
Yeah, I allow it for that just because, I don't know, why the fuck not?
To include the DM.
Yeah, includes NPCs. If an NPC makes an attack and you're like, I like to use my inspiration to reroll that, you could turn an attack
Duly
into a
noted.
miss.
Ah.
I like to sort of use inspiration more as a reward of the universe, kind of as like that was unexpected and cool.
Hmm.
Winky.
Yeah, I like that.
But the party will eventually arrive at the mustering station, where you can see all manner of wagon, cart, everything being loaded up and readied. You've got all these different laborers, and you've got different like senatorial guards, some city watch individuals who are kind of moving around.
There's the beast.
You got big old cowboy.
Well, that's a moo.
And as Felemy gets into the mustering area, she spots Bohan and makes a beeline for her.
Hmm.
Oh, my girl, it's nice to see you again. And she gives the cow a big hug.
That's adorable. I love the drool.
It was really good artwork. I appreciated it a lot. Yeah.
It's artwork I found on Divine Art where after a good crawl, but hopefully I'll have better for next time. But this was pretty good, yeah.
I take it you know this heifer.
Well, yes, she is my companion on the road, and she's my mount.
Zora's gonna look at the big beefy cow. It's like, okay, I can understand that.
Just to specify, the cow very clearly has a saddle and the cup and those little towels under the saddles, and a few packs all neatly bundled up. She is very clearly just as well geared as a war horse would be.
The different senators and delegate members start moving around and start, just discussing whatever with their different crews and their different like associates and assistants.
Just kind of scan the crowd and let all the politicians do their politics. Get all their official organization shit out of the way.
It do be like that. The clerk from the president's office will arrive, and he's carrying several satchels. Ah, there we are. And I do believe that you had requested apothecarial goods.
Ah. Yes. What have we here? Gimme.
So there is a satchel that has 2 of those potions of healing there in chat for everybody.
Oh, hell yes.
So each of you can actually, in fact, drag that from the chat to your character sheet.
Oh.
And you should have 2 of them. So 10 total.
Put it in.
So here we have some healing potions for you all, just in case, of course. There's some extra rations as well. Should be another week's worth for the lot of you. Just in case, I suppose.
Okay. Do
So do we need to drag it twice then?
Yeah,
You
to
can-
have two of them.
Yeah, you can. You can drag it twice. You can also edit it so your quantity is 2. There's a couple of different ways you do it, but yeah, dragging it twice is probably just the easiest.
food.
Thank you very much. We appreciate that.
Quick verification. Is there any way to decouple my two characters? To have them move it independently?
Yeah, only have one selected at a time.
Okay.
Okay, how do I deselect that?
If you have left click to unselect, you can just left click anywhere empty on the map. Otherwise, you may have to like click on a different token or hit escape or something.
Hmm.
There we go, that seems to have worked.
Talisman of Resurgence.
Yep, there is a pouch as well with 3 talismans of resurgence in it.
Cool. Suppose I'll grab one.
What is a talisman of resurgence?
I believe you can click it, and you should have the description.
Oh, never mind. There we go. Yeah. Sorry.
But yeah, it is a item that you can consume. Basically, it's got this. It's like a small, what looks almost like a small stone disc, almost like a Scrabble tile sized, I suppose, with a rune on it that is just a very simple like healing rune. And what you do is you crush it in your hand basically, and it's a bonus action, and you heal yourself and any allies within 15 feet of yourself for 1d4 plus 1 hit points as a bonus action.
Yeah.
It's basically some extra healing that's just a little bit kind of like emergency extra, not anything amazing.
Yeah, it's
Very
a,
useful.
Good.
it's a mini panic button.
Yeah.
Trying to think of the logistics of who should take. I think I'll leave it for other people because I'm gonna prioritize my own healing.
And there are 2 talismans of aiming. And it's the same thing. It's another small Scrabble token-sized little runic talisman that you crush it in your hand, and it's a bonus action, and you will get a +1 to your attack and damage rolls for the next attack you make.
Hmm.
Nice.
And there are 2 of those.
Hmm.
I think that could be of use to me. Thank you.
Yeah, I think maybe
I'll
the
take one
rogue
of
and the ranger.
As I do not tend to favor being directly in combat, I wouldn't mind if there's still one taking one of the talismans of resurgence just as a fallback.
By all means. Feel free to distribute that as you wish.
Move it over here. Okay, I've grabbed 1 talisman of resurgence and 1 talisman of aiming.
And I grabbed a potion of the. I just grabbed the talisman of aiming, so.
So that's 2 talismans of resurgence left.
I believe
I
so.
do believe I've taken one, so
There you go.
So 1 left.
that said, if anyone else wants one, I'll gladly give up mine since I have Lay of Hand. It's not quite as useful, but it's at least some kind of healing.
Batcat's cute.
No, nobody on the resurgence. I can take it. Like, I mean, it heals around me, so that could
I've
also be
taken
useful.
one, so I think there's.
Oh, okay, there we go. There we go. That's all of
Yeah.
them.
I think we've got 2 of them. Do we have 2 or 3 taken?
That's 3 now.
Got one.
Okay.
I took one with the logic that I tend to not be in the middle of combat. You know, I'm a warlock. My thing is to stay away. So let the people who are supposed to be in the middle of combat can be saved if I have to come up and save them or use it on them.
Yep. Yep, that works.
And with that, the clerk kind of just looks around at all of you and nods, and unless there's anything else, we'll go ahead and take off.
Thank you so
Let us
much.
go forward.
You've been a
I do
great
believe we are ready.
Oh, you must be Lieutenant Batcat. Oh, you are precious.
Batcat for a moment will just kind of like blink and look around, obviously nervous and a little bit overwhelmed.
Aw. Aw, shy kitty. I'm Sile Dove, but you can just call me Dove if you'd like. I'm looking forward to working with you.
Same, actually. This is my first big job since I got back. It's been a while, and I'm looking forward to it for sure. And good to see you all and meet you all, and hopefully we do well together.
And with Red living on our back, one will quietly settle up to Batcat and give them a big lick on the back of the head. A big sloppy lick.
He's a cutie.
Batcat will kind of jump in surprise at that, but will turn around and gently pat on the nose, and then just look to all of you and the different senators and look over at Graham. I do believe final preparations are ready. If the rest of you are prepared, we can make our way now to the vault and prepare to embark upon our adventure.
Absolutely.
This one is ready.
I'm curious, Batcat. Where
2 of
were
us
you
are
before
ready.
this?
Batcat looks over at Gale for a moment, who kind of frowns but nods. I'm not from there. I'm originally from here, but I was on the world of Chromis. That's where Gale is from. There was a laboratory there. They were experimenting on a lot of us humanoids. Essentially, any of us that were, as if you'll forgive the expression, of course, any of us that were animal people.
I'm sorry to hear that.
What kind of experiment, if I may ask?
On that one, just hearing that, Yosaurus just gonna face palms like, oh, there are some things you don't ask.
Perhaps we shouldn't pry.
I am a seeker of knowledge. Even I know there are some questions you do not want to know the answer to, or to ask.
No, it's okay. They were experimenting on us. It seemed, at least as far as any one of us could figure, it was longevity and resistance to some sort of corruption. They had some sort of strange corruptive influence. No one's really been able to ascertain what it was. But I was actually saved by some heroes that showed up there, who also now are in various spots around the city. One of them that saved us was a bugbear named Zer. He now plays drums at the Two Beers and a Bath.
Well, that sounds positively unpleasant. And saying all that, Fiddly still never stops smiling she's saying the most mundane of pleasantries.
As as he's describing the nature of these experiments, Dove is just like his tongue is just absent-mindedly going to his stubby little fang. Well, I'm glad you've come back. It's dreadful to have someone make you their plaything.
It wasn't a good time, that's for sure. But yeah, it was good to be back, and they gave me my job back with the City Watch, and they don't even mind all the times I pee on things. So that's nice.
Oh, poor silly boy.
It's simply the nature of it. That's what heroes do.
You on things?
Batcat will blink, eyes wide as he stares at you. Exactly. Heroes pee.
Well, you do what you must.
You're the first one to get it.
I'll remember not to stand too close then.
Yeah, Zora's just going to quietly. He's like, okay. So that just was a bit of information to know.
And with that, Batcat will kind of turn to some of the different city guard, and he will like wave and kind of gesture to them, and they will begin to move out. And you'll see some of the carriages and coaches start to follow them down the road. Graham will call all the diplomats and delegates over and kind of gesture to all of you as well. So here it is. We embark, starting our journey now. Move to the Nexus Vault, and from there, into the way between realms. Good luck, good journeys, safe travels to all of us.
Let us embark then.
May life itself safeguard our path.
And with that, you'll be led through the diplomatic procession with the senators, etc., and we'll move eventually to the edge of the military district on the edge of the travel district, where the different Nexus holds are. And the Nexus holds are these locations where doors are located that will lead to the different various worlds. There's, in fact, the Nexus pavilion, where ahead they've got doors that will lead to the worlds of like Aradesh, now the world of Sigel, the world of Naras Tarak, and the world of Hetoria, which have all kind of very recently been reopened in a way. But eventually you'll move to a different facility, kind of a almost innocent looking, like bunker looking building, and leads underground down this long path that's this huge wide open hallway that's very clearly meant to move large vehicles and large groups through. It is also, as you can see, heavily armed, just for sure whatever reason might be.
That is an unusually large amount of weaponry aimed at one spot.
And the door at the end of the hallway is this massive iron and stone reinforced, just huge slab that slowly rolls up and away into the ceiling and allows you to move further beyond. And in the greater chamber, you can see there are other areas, then there are other weapons kind of just around the area. Whatever this is very clearly a secure, heavily militarized protected area.
I mean, you gotta for the Stargate room.
And now, while there are doors, as I said, that are open and just like kind of publicly accessible, this area seems to be very specifically secured for whatever reason.
Mhm.
Well, I suppose if you've got a gate to another world in the middle of your great city, you'd want it properly guarded.
Not just a gate, doors, many of them. This city gets the name for, you know, a reason. But yes, this is the Nexus Vault. This is where the most secure doors are held, and held under, as you can see, very intense and tight scrutiny.
And for the first time since it's been here, one who leans is not smiling. So many instruments of death do make this one somewhat uncomfortable.
That's understandable, I suppose. But it is for no reason other than defense. For if someone or something hostile were to come through one of these doors, it would be in the middle of a populated city full of innocent civilians, and we'd want some way to perhaps turn an army back should it be intent on, some ill, grave tidings.
This one understands.
See what you mean. And I look around to see that that some of the doors are more heavily fortified than others. Some of them have more barricades and more cannons.
Yep, and you can, in fact, I suppose if you zoom out or look around enough, there's very specifically this one in the back that is not just under heavier scrutiny, but is cloaked in shadow.
So clearly identify that as the door to the plane of shadow.
It is certainly one they don't want anybody getting through without them knowing.
Is there any obvious indication of where each of the doors leads?
There are some that have actual labels on them. And seem to indicate other worlds or other possible locations. One of the most heavily fortified being this one back here. Seems to indicate that this is a gate to the plane of fire.
Okay.
Crispy. Anybody bring marshmallows?
But the procession is directed towards these large doors that sweep outward and allow entry into here, where there's this massive pad with this massive door, and sitting there atop the platform, smiling patiently and watching as you all walk in, is this individual.
Aw, it's pretty.
Anybody who recognizes fey creatures immediately recognizes a sprite.
Cousin, a cousin of the Sprite family. It's a pleasure to meet you.
Why,
Hello.
hello there, my good Miss Sprite.
Her wings kind of flutter and she lifts into the air a little bit. Stares at first Yozora, then looks first at your mount here, and is just kind of like, and then looks at you and sees the hair and the cloak. Hello.
It's good to meet one of your kind again.
You get the sense immediately that she is not comfortable with either of you.
Oh, don't worry too much about my mount. She's absolutely a delight and will not be of any threat to you. And I do believe I've met with other sprites before, though they were just a settlement in the forest.
That is well and good. It's just I don't exactly do well with home. And she looks directly at Yozora.
I see. I will not inquire why. It is your business.
I appreciate that. But I do assure you it is always good to see sisters about. And she again looks directly at Yozora. But then turns towards the door and gestures towards. Thanks largely in part to the efforts of a friend of mine, I have been entrusted with the power and capability to align this door and open it so that it may lead to the way between realms as close as we can possibly get, or at least as close as we hope we can get, to the door that will open up onto the world of Yome.
This one greets you and thanks you for your efforts.
Her wings kind of flutter again, and she gives you a little bit of a bow. And greetings to you. It has been some time since I've been to your world, but the last I was there, it was in much better state than it had been when the calamity was deep within the grips.
This one was birthed quite recently, and is happy not to have known those times of despair.
A blessing to you and yours, then. You have known the better days of Trelune, and that is glad. Brace yourselves. For obviously we know not what might be on the other side of this door, but we must open it for the way forward. The only way we can ever make any progress is by opening the doors before us.
Well then, by your leave, we shall try to make our best effort of the chance given.
We are at your... Never mind, I just lost where my train of thought was.
She'll just kind of smile softly at Yozora, the first favor she's shown either one of you.
Can I
Of course.
get a read on that? Is it a look of animosity or fear?
Absolutely, go ahead and roll that insight.
Oh yeah, definitely curious about that too.
I think I'll roll on it too, mostly because of my own familiarity with Sprite specifically.
All right. Her attempts to kind of mask her emotions and hide her true intent and feelings seems to work for the most part, but all of you rolled well enough that you get definitely a sense from her that she is not exactly comfortable around those who seem to be so outwardly and overtly of the Fae for whatever reason she might have. Those are very much not clear.
Can I make a history check to see if maybe this has crossed my radar? The knowledge of why may have crossed my radar back home.
Absolutely. You may make a history check. You are possibly the only one who may know that. Dove and... Yeah, Dove, you could make a history check that you may have heard about this individual before within
I'm
the
gonna
city.
guess that that's not
Oh,
nearly
yeah,
enough.
yeah. The city, okay. Alright, history. Suppose not.
Can
Alright.
Can I give guidance to Zora?
If you'd like to, yeah, you can
Yeah. I'm
kind of
gonna
like
do that.
give him a reassuring pat on the shoulder. You got this, buddy.
Sort
see.
of, yeah.
I assume whatever connection I have with the face would not be enough to know anything about this individual.
Not for your character specifically, unfortunately, just because this is such a specific circumstance that you wouldn't have encountered it.
That's what I figured.
I'm just gonna like whisper in Sylvan. May the mycelium mother help with your recollection.
Also, Sylvan in my setting is Twitch emote speak. So he just said, feels
Poggers.
good, man.
I'm going to need a translator for that every time because I do not speak Twitch chat.
Which one's French? Because I can do French.
I can do French too.
So,
Go ahead, roll a d4. If you need to know how to roll that manually, here, I'll show you.
who's rolling a d4?
You would. But yeah, it'd be the /R 1d4 without the quotes. So yeah, go ahead, roll your guidance. We'll add a little bit to that 12. 15, not bad, not bad. That's actually a little bit better. You'll get a little bit more information out of it from that. But yeah, Dove, you haven't heard a whole lot, but you do recognize the individual and the name. Miku of the Prime Plane is something that you have heard before. She is a well-known hero of the Second Age that worked and operated in and around the city. So you at least know who this individual is and that they are someone important. For Yuzora, you have heard stories of a renegade sprite who spurned their duties and their home within the Feywild, and has abandoned their home and everything that they were meant to do and that they were called and tasked to do on behalf of both their family and the Feywild, and instead chose to adventure and travel with a storm giant.
Okay, just give me a second. I'm writing that down.
Might actually.
Okay. Still, knowing this, and, well, Zora is still not going to, raise a stink or anything like that. Given that they are a mortal, even if they are of the Feywilds.
And actually, yeah, and Sonika, your insight, like, that was good enough that the sense you got from this individual, this is a extremely powerful individual. Someone who is capable of moving worlds is like the kind of sense you get.
I see.
Damn.
I'll definitely keep that in mind, but for the most part, my character would only be concerned with not being hostile or not creating any animosity.
All right. But you will see her instead turn towards this massive doorway, and she'll kind of begin to chant and weave her arms in the air, shifting and shaping these different runes and magics and casting them upon the door. And you'll see like the different runes on the ground begin to glow and pulse with energy, and then the door itself begins to do the very same.
It appears this one just doesn't care.
God damn it.
Magic within the area begins to slowly swell. Each of you can feel it, like just like energy tingling along your arms. If you have body hair, some of it begins to stand on end. And slowly but surely, the door itself glows, and a crack appears around the seam, and it will open, seemingly of its own volition, onto a strange, unusual sight before you. She will slowly flutter in the air, taking a deep breath, and then nod, turning back towards the group. The way is open. The way between realms lies beyond. I believe our expedition leaders, the Vanguard, may now proceed.
Well then, I'll leave, my lady.
This one thanks you greatly.
Yozora will bow and say, "Thank you very much," and continue and head on up.
Wither just gives her a nod and walks right by her.
Thank you much. With some trepidation, Dove will slowly approach the door.
Graham steps up and will kind of bow his head to Miku. Thank you, dear. You lot, good luck. We will follow as we can. It's going to take a little bit of time to get the wagons and everything up and through, but we will follow behind. If you would be so kind as to scout the area ahead and make sure it's safe, we'd be much appreciative. Of course, if you encounter anything, come back immediately and warn us not to follow.
Absolutely. We shall be sure to make everything ready for your arrival.
Very well. We shall see you shortly.
Time to cut our teeth.
Here we go.
This one does not have teeth.
What about your gums?
Good question.
Don't really have gums either, I suppose.
Yeah, it's all mushroom stuff.
Oh, you know, just mushroom things.
It's just mushroom things.
So the party steps through the doorway. The strange shifting scape before you of starlight and rock and just twisting energies. As you step through, it's very similar to kind of piercing your hand through like the edge of almost a mold or a jello of some sort. It's very gelatin-like. You can feel the membranes of reality kind of sliding around your body as if you were like moving through the surface of a bubble from one space to another. And on the other side, you come out onto a strange and wild-looking area.
And here I was hoping for something like the Doctor Who opening.
Just another day.
Oh, cool.
And then David Tennant shows up.
Okay.
This-
I've always been more of a Matt Smith fan.
Yeah, Matt Smith's good.
All right.
On the other side, you can see the area around you. Looks almost as if a building is jutting through a stark cliffside face of rock. Ruins dot the landscape where there's debris and the edge of what might have been a altar or a building of some sort. What its original purpose may have been is likely long since been lost to time. Ahead, there are rocks and boulders. There are roots poking up through the ground, and in fact, a strange bit of ground that you can see through. As you look up and around, the cliff edges go high, towering above you hundreds of feet, and then the open sky above you is that of a shifting, wild, energy-filled starscape. The center area that you can see through, you can see where roots extend beyond the surface downward into a endless void of infinite energy and possibility.
Wither immediately as he walks around the one who leans and walks straight out onto the unknown surface curiously, let his curiosity getting the best of him.
This is quite the awesome sight.
Agreed. It is overwhelming.
Yozora is going to walk to the edge of the steps and lightly tap the ground with their staff.
The ground, as you tap it, seems solid enough. Wither, as you step out onto it, seems that it is solid and holds your weight. In fact, everywhere you go when you take a step, it seems almost as if the interaction between you and it solidifies it and makes it more real where you step. There's an eerie silence as this infinite cosmic void stretches out around you. And you realize, as you're looking around and you see strange objects floating and sliding by in the distance above your heads, that whatever chunk of land you're on is in fact slowly twisting and turning in place as you see the same kind of large rocks floating by every so often.
Man, okay, I'm curious. What does it sound like when we step on that?
It sounds like the stone you would expect to sound like at the edges, where the stone itself is more real and more like present. It sounds and feels, in fact, for those of you without shoes, like you're stepping on stone. It's just the way it looks is it's definitely something not exactly stone-like.
Cool.
Wither continues to walk forward and just kind of looks at it curiously and kind of surveys his surroundings. Would I be able to do an investigation check of the area?
Absolutely. You can do perception or investigation, whichever one you would like to do, to take a look around. You also see the occasional like plant life growing in the area that does not seem to be much life anymore at all to it.
And as I see him looking curiously around, guidance.
And I will investigate this little formation, see if there's anything of use, I guess.
It's right here.
So if I remember correctly, feels good, man.
Yep. Sorry, I had my mic. I didn't have my push to talk going, but yeah, just this little area right here.
Absolutely. Go ahead and make your roll, and don't forget you've got that D4 that you can roll as well.
What sort of check would it be just to get an inkling of what the heck's going on? Arcana, knowledge, just straight up intellect?
If you want to do a vibe check of kind of the ethereal currents and the magic in the area, by all means, roll that Arcana. And what were you saying?
Could I make a perception check to see if there's any, or listen or anything, to see if there's any signs of intelligent life around, if we're, maybe not alone here?
Absolutely. Go ahead.
And I don't think I need to roll that inspiration, but I will. But is it just the /D1 for 1D4 then?
/R.
Yeah, /R 1D4. Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead. Roll it. Absolutely. You can always get more.
Yeah, it's
nice.
Oh, nice. So 24. Nice.
I'll also do a perception check to see for anything that might be a threat around, just to be sure.
Okay.
Especially since I'm atop my mount right now, so I probably have a good vantage position.
Absolutely.
How fast can I spam guidances?
We'll worry about just the one for right now.
Okay.
All right, so we'll start with Wither with that 24 investigation check as you take a good look around. The different like rock and debris in the area looks like it would have belonged to whatever structure this was that you arrived on. This seems to be like like literally just like jutting through this rock wall, like you shoved part of a building through this wall. And it looks like there's just debris and parts of what might have been that building just kind of all over. The different rock formations seems as if they are just natural rock, possibly that have fallen from up above or that have always existed here or just over time. The strange like root system seems to be just that, like dying roots of a plant that no longer exists. The plants around you again look as if they are themselves drained of all life, just colorless and still.
I see.
You also detect in your investigation that some of the debris has been touched, I suppose is probably the best way to put it. Definitely things have been through here, whether they were searching through it or they just happened to, step on or around or through it and like accidentally kick or nudge it in some way. So you can see signs of things have been through here, but you do not currently see or detect any sort of other living beings or detect any threats or traps around you. Dove, with your 17, you see a little bit of the same. You see like the occasional spot on like the rocks where maybe something like clawed at it or scratched at it. Like maybe somebody perhaps even with like a sword was just walking by and their sword nicked it or something and it left just a mark on like the rocks. It's hard to say exactly what it was, but you know that there have been things that have gone through here at the very least. Whether it was humanoid or monstrous is unclear at the moment, but you've seen things that have been moving around and probably moving further on the path.
Would either of us recognize what kind of creature has gone through here?
You are not quite sure what creature it might have been. You know that it likely at least had limbs of some sort, like arms, legs. And let's see, you're 15. You don't really glean any more information than that everybody else has already been granted. You notice that, like, for instance, the rock wall and all that seems natural enough, seems normal enough.
That's good to know. Mostly, I'd be just keeping an eye aside for anything that might seem like a threat.
And as for your vibe check on the magic in the area, you kind of open up your mind to like sense the weaves and the different energies and currents around you, and it is a wild, chaotic tapestry. You are sensing no magic, all magic, some magic. It's all kind of weaving in and out and shifting wildly.
Oh, that's a headache and a half. I'm gonna need some time to process all that.
And up ahead, the path seems to turn as the canyon that you're in, or this ravine, or whatever it was, or might once have been, heads off in a different direction. As for what all may be out there, what exists beyond your sight at the moment, that is a question we will answer next time.
Oh man.
Yeah.
So that's how we end the session.
And that is where we will end session 1.
Definitely a good spot to stop.
Yeah. I let it run a little bit longer because we took a little bit getting ramped up, getting going. So hopefully we'll pick right up a little bit sooner next time. We won't have all the technical issues of me forgetting to assign ownership of tokens and get everybody into Foundry easily and quickly.
Yeah, we got a foot in it now.
Yeah.
But yeah, absolutely. So there you are. That is session 1, Drums of the Empire.
Yay.
Good session.
We are on an adventure.
That was
On
fun.
an
Hell yeah.
adventure indeed. Yeah,
I'm
thank you.
loving the politics already.
Good. I was really hoping so. That's awesome. But yeah, thank you very much, everyone, for playing. Thanks for showing up. Thanks for agreeing to join in on this. This is one that I've personally been looking forward to running, just because again, it's very rare that you get to do like political campaigns like this.
Thank you for
Oh,
running
yeah,
it and
I'm
inviting those of us who
fan.
invited.
It's been a pleasure. I'm glad to have this as my first campaign, to be honest.
Oh,
I
Hell
hope you
yeah.
enjoy yourself.
oh pop
Well,
that cherry.
this was
Yeah.
plenty fun, and honestly, lots to learn.
And I am so happy that you guys got to meet Nim.
I like them.
Name is a
He
lot.
was he was something.
I want to meet all of them. I want all the spider people.
If it would have
He's
gone much
fucking
longer, I
I
probably
think
would
you're
have.
gonna get your wish.
Spider
If I would-
Nappa.
If it would have went a little bit longer, I would have probably jabbed my arrow into the table to to see what happened.
Oh jeez.
And it's like at this moment, it's like just doing that entire thing is Zora's just very glad that they are they've gotten training on how to be patient. You don't deal with the fey courts without having to be patient.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yes, thank you so
Yeah.
much for being on my stream as well. Thanks for hanging out, folks, in the chat. Much appreciated.
Yeah.
Hope you enjoyed.
Yeah, hi,
We'll-
everybody.
We'll be
Yeah.
we'll be
Always a blast.
strapping back onto this adventure next week, right?
Hell yeah, we'll be back next week, same time. We'll kick it into high gear, get some actual investigation and exploration underway. We'll check out what else is out here in the way between realms, see where we end up going from there, and see what might await you around the corner. And we'll get the expedition going as they start bringing in their wagons and everything and start following along.
Exactly. And I am off next Friday, so
Very cool.
we could
Very
probably
exciting.
Awesome.
if people want to, we can see about maybe even starting earlier or something like that. Even something to discuss, if anything.
I'll let you know.
I
Never.
I very specifically made sure God work to give me Fridays off. So my day off schedules are a bit weird compared to how they were, but I have Fridays off, so I'm clear to be here and hopefully get the snark going again.
But yeah, 6 to 9's our slot. We will likely not deviate much from that, if ever. Just because I usually need every minute to make sure everything's prepped and ready.
Yeah.
of course.
That makes sense.
Yep.
Yep. It's just my schedule's a little. Mine's probably because my line of business is kind of hard to do that because weekends are when we normally are at our busiest. Gotta
Yeah,
love
man.
hospitality, you know.
Yeah, by all means, I am glad you're able to make it. I was glad you were able to play. It was very exciting. But yeah, again, thank you. Hopefully you guys that watched enjoyed watching. Hopefully you guys that played, you guys enjoyed playing. I had a great time. Thank you very much for allowing me this opportunity. I will see you guys next week. We'll continue the adventure. See you.
Hooray.
See you
Hell
all.
yeah. Have a
Sending
good
a-
one, everybody.
Sending a
Go
little raid
blast.
over to the Jukers playing Freedom Planet. So go ahead and give them the love, give them a ride on that
Oh
new
shit,
train.
the Juker, hell yeah!
And yeah,
Yes.
Oh,
have a
nice.
good old time.
He's in my recommended tab right now.
Oh, so yeah, now I've committed to the way my character speaks now, so I got to keep up with that.
Boom.
I've made a